screen. Get that up as well. There I am. And spotlight this guy. And okay, welcome everyone to Tuesday, August 9th, 2016.
Record, Rick.
Record, Rick. Okay, thank you. Jeez, I'm glad you're there. Thank you, John. Sorry, I gotta stop that. Record to the cloud. There we go. Okay, anybody else that wants to record can. Okay, take two. Welcome everyone to the Keshe Plasma Reactor group for Tuesday, August 9th, 2016. And once again, we're gathered with our friends of the Keshe persuasion that are experimenting around the world to come up with new concepts and develop the ideas that are presented by the Keshe Foundation, as well as some of the ideas that are developed by ourselves in our very own brains. And so we were talking just before beginning here about RPMs and spinning things, spinning spheres specifically, the ones that are in two pieces. I don't have an example here, but the two-piece, usually acrylic, you glue them in the middle and they get spun at high speeds. But sometimes at high speeds they can come apart because the glue can come apart, as John mentioned, and sometimes the acrylic can just simply shatter as well, depending on the vibrations and how they're mounted and all kinds of factors. One of them being if they're filled with liquid or filled with gas. And if they're filled with liquid, the forces on the sides we were just calculating. And there is a calculator. Did you use the RPM calculator, John, when you were fiddling with that number?
I just did a quick search for G-force on a spinning sphere, and there was about 15 calculators come up. I just grabbed the first one that came out.
I see. There's one in particular that's very nice. Let me just find it here so we can take a look at it, I think. Yeah, that's the one. It's called the G-force calculator, and it's by End Memo, ENDEMEMO. I'm going to put the link in the chat here, and I'll try to get my live stream going, put it in there too. And just bear with me a second while I fire up Mr. Livestream here. So, yeah, what we're talking about is what the G-forces were at high RPMs, and we were calculating on a ping pong ball. Okay, there we go. And now I can chat. And I got to put the link in there and have to break it up. I think that might go through. I think it did. You just put www.
Are you trying to share screen?
No, sorry, I'm putting that in the live stream itself chat, so you can see the getting an echo here now. I guess it's echoing through your system there a bit, John, maybe. Or is it something else I've done with my live stream? No, I think it's okay. Okay, yeah, so I put the link in there. Let me share it on the screen. That's the best way to do it. I'll have to put it up and copy and paste into my other program and make it nice and biggy and do a screen share. That's the best way to do things like that, I suppose. And let's make it a little bigger. That's a lot bigger. Alright, there we go. Anyway, that was the link, and what you get is a really nifty calculator. You can type in, I guess I can show the live web page. I think you're totally allowed to do that, so I'm just going to stick it over here too now that we've given the link, which is all good. And it's purely for educational and health purposes. Basic personal health if something comes apart at high RPMs. Anyway, it's got this calculator. So say we put in, you were talking about, John, having it was like a 40 millimeter ping pong ball, I believe.
Yeah, we're not seeing the page itself. We
Oh,
just
I'm sorry, and I keep thinking that my live stream is the same as. Let me just share the desktop, and then we'll all see what's happening there. I think that will work.
there you go.
Okay, you see the application there now. I think we can see it on live stream too. I'll just include the live stream so you can see the title. And I have to just a second here. There we go. Make it a little bigger. Okay, so yeah, you were saying the radius. For example, a 40 millimeter ping pong ball, which is typical, I think.
Yeah, 2 centimeter radius.
So that would be 2 for the radius. And you were talking about a 10,000, an optimistic 10,000 RPM speed, which you did achieve apparently shortly before self-destruction. Is that correct?
Yeah, according to, it was a little higher than that. It was about 12,000, but it was.
Wow, yeah.
I didn't get an accurate reading on my speed meter.
So
What's it
let's your RPM meter.
Yeah, I've got one of those laser non-contact RPM things.
Tachometer. Yes,
Tachometers.
I've got one too. They're great fun to drive a cat crazy with. No, they're great fun to do your RPMs with. Okay, so let's do a calculation of the G force. This is how many G's. We're under 1 G force now, and sitting in our chairs or standing up on planet Earth. And how many G forces would we be under at the rim of this rotating ping pong ball at 10,000 RPM? What?
Oh, it's thinking that's a decimal. Take the decimal, or they take the comma out of your 10,000.
Oh, this must be a European device, perhaps. Okay, there we go. The true G force is 2,236 G's. Wow, that's a lot of force on a ping pong ball. So I think if I was a ping pong ball at 10,000 RPM trying to hold together, I'd probably split too.
Yep, stuff like glass, that acrylic. If you even so much as look at it wrong at that speed, it's going to come apart on you.
Yeah, yeah. Polycarbonate would hold together with any kind of wall thickness at all. But acrylic is, the way it works is glass is fragile, and acrylic is about 20 times stronger than the glass, and the polycarbonate would be 200 times stronger, which is 10 times stronger than the acrylic. Basically, it's virtually bulletproof. I've got a.
What's the G-forces at 2,500 RPM?
All right, let's check that out. Thank you.
500.
Pardon me? Whoops. I mistakenly went to the wrong thing here. Just it. Okay, just a second here while we recalculate things. So it'd be 140 Gs at 2500 RPM.
That's a lot less, yeah.
Yeah, it goes up with the square of the RPM, I think.
Even 140 is a lot.
Yeah, you bet. So like say 1000 RPM. Let's look at the difference there. Okay, 22 Gs at 1000. So that's interesting. And we get down to, say you're doing 500 RPM, half of 1000, but the Gs go down to roughly a quarter. I think it is a quarter, actually. So if you double the speed, you'd have 4 times the Gs. So it's the square of the speed, I believe is the way it works. The forces increase with the square of the speed. For example, if you put 5,000 RPM, which is 10 times the RPM, the G forces go to 100 times. So that'd be 10 squared. That's the square of the RPM. And again, you get up to 50,000, let's say. That's where John wants to shoot for. Why not? What happened? It gets stuck or something here.
The number's too big, it won't show.
No, it should.
They peak out at 29 with no load, so I doubt I'll hit 29. Probably 27, 26.
But it should still calculate something went astray here.
There you go, 20,000 Gs at 30,000 RPM.
Let's try 50 now. What? It's bogging out, but yet when we look at the reason I like this site is it happens to also have the centrifuge rotor complete list. All the centrifuges of the world basically are the ones that are at least readily available, and their maximum RPMs. So we look at the first one as a 95,000 RPM. There's other ones, 100,000, 90,000, and so on. Here's one, that's 30,000. Here's one, 150,000.
These are motors.
These are centrifuge motors, yes. And I thought there was one that went up even more there, but it seems like they top out at maybe 150,000 RPM in a centrifuge. That would make your Ganss settle to the bottom pretty quick. Dive. Yeah, that'd be well, look at the forces on 150,000. Where was it here?
Million Gs?
Over 1,000,000 Gs, yeah. Wow.
What was the radius of that 150,000? There it is.
Is that the radius there? 1.58?
Centimeters? Millimeters? What unit?
Centimeters.
So that's not a very big circle.
That's about what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Well, they had a maximum radius too, which is actually bigger, so I guess it can go bigger. I can't find which one there now, but...
Here it is. It's 3.99.
Okay, so 4 is exactly double this, so... Yeah. So what are the advantages of going to the higher, let's go back to that 30,000 that you want to shoot for there, John?
Well, it was just something Mr. Keshe mentioned, and he was looking at a window between 7 and 10,000 RPM.
Yeah, I'm surprised he mentioned that because he's always said before, keep it under 2,500. You don't have to go to higher RPMs, but he was talking about different reactors then,
Okay.
right? So what was he specifically discussing this time, I'm wondering?
Let me ask you one question.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think our Earth have motors?
Well, in the sense of a plasmatic motor, perhaps, or some sort of field motor.
Field motor, its gradients, what mixture you put in.
Right.
So it's a plasmatic rotation, not physical rotation.
But can we
not affect the plasmatic rotation?
start the plasmatic rotation with a physical rotation, though? That would be the question.
Actually, higher always feeds lower.
Yeah.
Not lower always feeds higher.
Yes, but you have to get the higher started. It doesn't just start on its own from nothing. Well, it may start from nothing, but you have to get that
That's how
nothing to
it
start
happens.
with.
Fields comes together and they start the rotation.
Well, if it doesn't work for a plasma reactor, I can make a really big quadcopter out of it.
Yeah, and you can have some amazing little vortexes inside, and you can have a lot of fun with it, I think. But
Yeah.
it depends on what reactor you're building, I suppose, is what it comes right down to. Basically, is that not true? For example, if you're building there's some people that will be using spheres and trying to use spheres within spheres and to create the, with different gradients of materials inside, but still rotating the spheres to try to get things sort of initiated or started.
Yeah, right now, just for myself, I'm just looking for a repeatable in-your-face effect. I mean, the medical stuff, I already know this. I already know it works, but I'm looking for something that I can set up at a demo, turn on, and have something that no one can explain. Something completely outrageous, and just experimenting, seeing what it'll do.
Yep, right on.
But you need to set up 4 reactors then.
Yeah, that's why I went and bought 4 motors and 4 PCI or pulse width modulator speed controls for this thing. And they're all 6 volts, so I can run them off a solar cell if I have to.
Wait a minute, you got 6
Or, sorry, 4 motors,
PWMs,
4 speed controls.
4-speed controls, okay.
But maybe you feed your motors with the plasma.
Right.
Yeah, if they weren't brushed motors, I was looking at brushless, but the about the decent quality that I would be happy with was about $30 a piece, not 3.
No,
So
what I'm saying, if you have a unit, maglev unit,
uh-huh.
just connected your power supply to that.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, I can take a couple of the dead ones that I got from the returns and find the good parts out of them and put them together and make a whole separate another
Make a
unit.
power unit, yes.
Speaking of power units, let's have a look at. Let me see. I got to get things pinned here properly. There we go, and spotlight. We have Lee Coates here with yet another iteration. It looks like. Is that true, Lee? You have. Is this? Well, it's your favorite unit you've been playing with, but it's different somehow.
No, this is a weird and wacky idea.
Okay, I'll go with that. That's what we're used to here.
Uh, about 2 or 3 weeks ago in class, we were talking about neutrinos and how we should use the neutrinos and the elements to do calculations and stuff. So I had a bunch of ionizing chambers I had bought way back when Mr. Keshe first talked about americium. So he was dying to do something with them. And so if you go iron and americium and you subtract the neutrinos and you get our favorite element. So I said, oh, I'm going to make a matter generator using trying to use fields. So see if we can get a top view of this. So I got the circular reactor core in the center, and then I got 6 maggrav cores around the outside of it, and then on the center reactor, I used your idea, Rick, for the wine glasses. So I got 2 wine glasses back to back in the middle. Then I put some more coils around it, and in the middle of the wine glasses, I got a bit of matter gold at the top. Then I got a double acrylic ball in the center, and then right in the inside ball, I had a glob of hot glue with some the little americium dots, and then below that double ball, I had a spiral, and it's hollow at the bottom with the 1 wire from the spiral coming out. And then there's 10 more americium dots glued around that spiral on the way out. The idea was to get some kind of field flow around get a field flow going around the outside and get it to transfer and then go down the center on the inside. And somehow these coils are made with iron with rebar tie wire, and so are these on here. So that was my thought on how do I get a field of iron. So I decided to use some iron coils. I got a couple of copper ones in here because the rest of my iron ones are in the nano coating process still. I'm not sure these iron wires nano coated all that well, but
Used straight iron wire, like what, the black wire that you can get, or what kind of?
it's just rebar tie wire.
Okay.
So it's 14 gauge
Pretty hefty stuff.
iron wire.
Um,
So anyway,
I was thinking of using MIG wire, which is the copper coated steel.
okay.
And I was thinking that it could be sort of flash nano coated, and the copper would be partly nano coating on the outside, and some of the iron would also be coming through as a nano coating, and they might work really well together as a winding wire. But I haven't actually. I've wound some coils, but I haven't nano coated them yet to see if it would do anything.
I saw one of the guys on the net built a reactor using galvanized iron wire, and he made a little mini reactor the size of a golf ball, and it worked just as good as his bigger reactors. So
yeah, well, that's got the zinc coating, and you nanocoat zinc, it can do some very interesting crystal structures on the outside of that iron wire. And the iron is magnetic, which is different than a zinc wire, so it would have a totally different response. Yeah.
So anyway, I'm not creating any matter here right now. So
well, you put a lot of matters together and a lot of thinking about what you're doing.
I'm not sure my theory's working. My theory is right here.
Where
in the PVC tubes, I got the plastic shavings. I think it's.
Oh my goodness.
That's inside the tubes, and that's the caustics inside the tubes.
There's caustic in there too. Okay, well, at least
so I got fields from that too, but and I've got about loaded it up with about 250 watts.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, I can also get my my heat gun on there. But when I turn the heat gun on, the top coil on the top of the center reactor heats up.
Uh-huh.
All the rest of them stay normal temperature. So that was a bit weird.
That sounds like you got a matter state connection on that top coil somewhere.
I couldn't have said it better, John. That's what I figured. But
Well, it's
how does,
possible.
or maybe a different way of connecting the coils to, maybe
Yeah.
it needs a capacitor on it.
Like as I say, all these iron coils, they don't. I don't see the nano coating layer on it. They didn't turn black, in other words. So I'm not sure I got them, any of them nano coated real good. But
Yeah, it might be hard to
it's
make
just
them
that
turn
top one
black.
that was heating up. So.
They do have black coated wire that you can get, for mending wire, they call it, mechanics wire sometimes. And it's got a black nano coating on the actual wire itself, so it's already iron and nano coated, but they do a different process. I think they use a nitrogen process to give that black nano coating. But there is a black iron nano coating, but it's a little bit difficult to achieve, I think. Usually we get what's commonly called rust.
So anyway, that's my wacky idea.
Well,
But,
we're
maybe I've come up with a brand new power generator design. I don't know.
yeah, you might want to tie it.
These iron cores to copper and
You might want to
see what happens.
tie it down at night to make sure it doesn't get away. Put a leash on it at least. Where do you expect the material to form if it was to form?
Well, I'm thinking the field flow should be going down through these coils because they're ganssed with the heaviest ganss at the top and CH3 at the bottom. So I was hoping they go down, and then at the bottom here, there's the end was cut off, so I got a hole at the bottom. I was hoping that I'd get some dust coming out of that hole. That's what I was hoping for.
So you have a little gold pan on the bottom there to collect things, or how?
Well, I just put a lid here that was painted sort of black, so I could see it if anything did drop out there. But
you
so
need
far,
to
still
have
black.
one of those official green, I would recommend, plastic gold pans.
Yeah.
They work really well, and you can see the gold easier actually than with black. And it's also plastic because it tends to attract through the electrostatic action. It'll attract any gold dust that's dropping through.
Okay.
So, and you can get the mini one. You don't have to get the big 14-inch, but the
Okay, I haven't seen
smaller,
one of those.
it's about 8 inches or so for final panning.
Anyway.
Yeah. Cool.
Another wacky idea that's not quite working.
Well, you can't expect it to just, soon as work as soon as you put it together. It may need some adjustment, tweaking, tuning, and waiting time. Or who knows what it might need. But
anyway, any comments on, like, I'm trying to use fields to generate matter. Any comments? Am I totally off base here, or
yeah, let's get some feedback.
This idea got some merit.
Well, that's what I'm looking at. You've got the health style coils around the outside. There's looks like 6 of them.
Yep.
So you've got 6 spherical fields with a multi-layered toroid field sort of embedded into the top of it. So there's going to be 2 layers of interaction where the fields are strongest. One inside that glass sphere where all those toroid fields focus. And you'll also have one just below that sphere, roughly, if my estimation of your sizes is correct, about 1.5 inches below the opening of your sphere, where the 6 spherical fields focus.
Okay.
And I'm wondering if you align those 2 focal points, if you could put the focal point of the 6 spherical field interactions right in the center of that ball, if you would have a different reaction.
I was trying to get it up higher so that it sort of had the starship arrangement. Like I can put it right down there, but
Yeah, that's a little closer.
almost needs to go down a bit lower to get the ball in line. But
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that's going to work. That's just something that popped into my head while I was looking at it. That's all.
I came up with I cut a whole bunch of different heights on pipe. I was gonna
Is it,
experiment with different heights.
Lee, is it kind of suspended by the wires there right now? Is it
This
kind
thing?
of floating? Yeah. It seemed
No,
to
it's
be bouncy.
sitting on the
Oh,
acrylic
it's
plate.
actually sitting on it. I see.
Yeah, there's a hole cut in the acrylic plate, and it's
yeah, it seemed to be really bouncy there, so I was thinking it would.
well, it should have a notch for that one wire coming off the side, and it doesn't. This doesn't have one down there.
Okay, I was just thinking having it floating there would be kind of cool.
On the wood plate, there's a notch there for that wire, and I don't have it. Didn't cut one in that acrylic. But
Like what if you hung it with the silk thread, a silk string, for example, like someone like old Ben Franklin would do.
yeah, well, it could be hung with from the upper frame with some strings.
Something non-conducting to sort of isolate it, I was thinking. Let the charges build up. But any other comments that people like to say about this? Ali or Armin, do you have anything that comes to mind? Is it in line, out of line, way out there, not quite far enough?
Any comments are welcome.
Denny has an open microphone. Maybe he would like to say something. Can't hear you, Denny. Yeah, maybe you're not functioning at the other end, but I think you want to speak.
Now let's see.
There we go. Yep, can hear you now.
Coming up. All righty, up here where you got your top frame and you've got your pipe and you've put your plastic and your caustic. Did you put any CH3 in it?
No.
Well, that adds a little.
Sorry, Denny, I lost you. That adds a little, I think you're going to say, but that's all I heard there. You might have to restart your Gidget there again.
Oh.
There we go.
Let's see if we got it.
Okay, it sounds a little more far away, but it's more clear and it's hanging in. Yep.
Testing.
Oh, that's really good. Mm-hmm.
So what's the CH3 do? What?
Oh, I think we lost Denny again. Might have a bad connection there somewhere, Denny.
I got more than a bad connection.
Okay.
I got my mute button. There, I see it's green. Okay. Yeah, the CH3 is will add the extra energy to feed the device. That's why you add the CH3, the plastic chips, a little bit of caustic, and if you're so inclined, put some hot melt glue in there too. Not, especially if you're fastening the joints together, you can fasten the joints with hot melt. That'll add you some more
CH, I think, to the equation, right?
Okay.
Yes, and then just for the fun of it, remember the flight system that Marco made and Renan made? Since you have these 6 down here, it wouldn't hurt to put a larger double coil up at the top, right on the top.
Right, make a starship formation right at the top.
Yeah, a large one, the size of the actual frame.
Okay.
Because you always want to waste wire. And wire grows on trees. So yeah, And the reason you do that is because every little twist becomes a reactor. Every little turn becomes a reactor, is what I'm saying.
Mhm.
And and you do that just to see what will happen. Not that somebody probably has principles behind it, but I do understand that when Mr. Keshe was talking to Mark about his system, he said to put the CH3 a little, glue your joints with your hot melt, grind up your coke threads, and a little bit of caustic. Now I don't know how. I didn't quite understand what he said about the caustic. Whether he was just going to put.
Yeah, when he was in the reactor group there a month ago, I thought it was just straight caustic he left in the pipes, but
No, I thought he just used a little bit of caustic and he mixed it with CH3.
I'll have to listen to that again, I guess. Okay.
So that's it. I don't have much more to say about that other than let's see if this will fly. You'll put a larger ring up above, and just below it a smaller one. They're double cord, you know.
Yeah.
And so that way you've got some reaction there. It's like a flight system, but you're in the process of making materials, so maybe you can do them both. And while you're at it, make a health system out of it.
I just want to get fields going right down through the center.
I can see it now. You get this UFO flying all around the place with gold just dripping out the back and just gold dust all over the place. People are complaining about the contrails because there's gold dust all over the place.
I'm gonna add something just because I got my mouth yapping here. About a month or so ago, I was making some copper oxide Ganss in a 5-gallon, like that barrel I showed a couple weeks ago, Rick. And I was doing all right, and I said, and I had put different things in it because I put different containers in it. I put some glass containers, and so that to see if just having them in there, I could imbue those containers with CO2 Ganss. So while I was making the CO2 Ganss, I had the containers inside the CO2 kit that I was making, and so I hung that shaped way funny thing. It was 14 karat gold. I hung it by a thread because at that time I said, well, I think I'll try to CO2 imbue that little 14 karat gold thing. And I hung it there during the night. When I got back up, now this is all outside. I do most of these experiments outside. And so when I got back up in the morning and it was light, here was all this golden stuff mixed up on my nice white CO2 Ganss. And it was just all over the place. And I said, oh, I forgot. That's not going to imbue my little device. It's going to take and scatter the 14 karat gold. And I don't know how it did it, but there was this golden stuff all over. And I don't say it's gold. I didn't know what it was. I had no way of telling what it was. I thought maybe the paint came off of it. But everybody else, when they're making gold, they don't come up with gold looking stuff. And I was doing that by accident. Since you guys are talking about gold, at least it was a gold color something that lit on my nice white CO2 Ganss, and it was all over the place. So that's the story, and I'm sticking to it. See you guys. Someone else's turn.
Well, you just kind of threw that in there, didn't you? So I'm a little perplexed there. You made some gold Ganss that looked like gold. Is that what you're saying, Denny?
I made something that polluted my CO2 kit with a with a gold colored substance.
But
I just hung that the let me see here. I guess I better show my video.
you better show something to come up with statements like that.
Okay, so this little
let
thing
me
here,
let me just
it
get
had
you up.
40,
There we go.
and so since it was such a whiz bang thing from Shapeways and it had a 14 karat gold surface, here's some white Ganss, but I had a kit going here. And it was outside, and I hung this by a thread down into the center of this just so that I could, and of course, Ganss was being produced the old fashioned way with the two plates. And so I thought, well, I'll imbue this with some CO2 Ganss. And so I just hung it there and I left it overnight. When I came back, there was all this gold looking stuff messing up my nice white Ganss, and it was all over the place.
Oh,
And
I see.
so I said, well, I wonder what happened there. And I said, oh, I don't want that happening. It's messing up my Ganss. And I pulled it out. And I don't know if this ever did get imbued with the CO2 Ganss, but it had a chance to overnight. It imbued the CO2 Ganss too. I used the Ganss for another purpose. It wasn't something that I was all excited about. It's just that it happened and it polluted my CO2. So that's what it was. It was this thing. It's got a 14 karat.
Did any bits come off of the gold? Like, can you see any pitting in the gold or any bare spots?
The thing has the reason why I didn't get too excited is because it's got I think it's an iron. It's made of iron and it's coated with the golden flake. I don't know how they did it. They had to bake it on or something.
They probably do a electroplating, a flash electroplating. It's probably not very thick, of course, but it would be, yeah, it'd be.
Because my light must be blaring this off. There, that's a better picture of it.
Is it magnetic, that structure?
No. So
it won't be steel then, unless it's stainless steel that they started with.
I don't know what it is. But this one's plastic.
Mm-hmm.
And it's built a little different. And so I was going to design something that I was using this for a model or an idea, and so that I could design a flight system with this, and I made all the drawings and got a bunch of stuff together, and then I said, I'll wait. And this is not something that I'm too bright at yet. I'll just wait.
That was your custom drawn Shapeway object, or did you use someone else's for that?
No, this is
One you
they did this. There's an artist sells them,
right? Mm-hmm.
and I just bought it. I think this in here was at the time somewhere between $19 or $22, depending on what it was.
That's pretty reasonable, considering you could develop your own specifically the way you liked on the computer, and then have it 3D printed for that amount, probably.
Well, it was some kind of 3D Metatron's cube, but something equilibrium combination. And so I thought I would try to design that and use it for a flight system, but it would make a round spaceship instead of a round top. So I'm just still, this is just like some of your stuff in the background, ruminating in my mind.
Yeah, right. Yep. At some point it may become the central figure in a reactor or something. Who knows?
Well, some of these things you're lucky you stop.
Yeah, stop over your head.
Yes.
Before you put
but,
$5,000 worth of money into the
but
the
this will.
platinum unit with gold plating and the solid gold unit and so on. Yes, yes.
So that's it. I
Cool.
think
Thanks, Denny.
I'll cut out here.
Okay.
The next big gimmick I got going is I've got a 639 gallon swimming pool that I'm going to use the electrolysis method of making Ganss in. It's just
Yeah.
to see how much Ganss. It's like this: how much wood can a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? So if the other saying is, how much Ganss will a Ganss maker Ganss if a I mean, how much Ganss can a Ganss maker make if a Ganss maker would make Ganss? And so
Okay.
that's my thing for this month
Wow, you're going
is
from, you've already gone from like bathtub size and now you're going to swimming pool
I
size.
had 33. I had a 33 gallon barrels that I'm making them in. Of course, these are those gouging rods,
Oh
and
yeah.
I found out that you can nano coat these copper colored ones. I got a sack full of them here,
Yeah.
and that's easy enough. But I also found out it makes very little difference if it's if you use the copper coated ones. You don't have to take the snake skin off. I I got a
Okay.
snake I got a snake skin off of one of them.
Right.
Some of them come off pretty easy. Some of them don't come off that easy. But I didn't. I found that that's not that important. I still make my Ganss with it. But I did find out that you don't want to put two carbon rods in at the same time. It turns everything black.
Yeah, you'll
If you,
get nano carbon that way.
there was a couple of experimenters that were working on that, and what they were suggesting was to take one of your carbon rods and polish it very, very bright at high speed with
Yeah, I
like with
did. I did.
leather.
I did that, but I guess I didn't do it good enough because just the two together. But here's one thing that happened to me. I was making the copper oxide with one rod, and I had nano coated copper, and everything's just going along. Where I'm in the green, everything is just beautiful. Then I said, well, I'm going to do this in a series. I'm going to put one copper rod, and then I'm going to take it, and I'm going to take this same wire and put it on the negative pole, and I'm going to have two of them. That way, I can have two of them just shooting off, two of them making it going at the same time. And I left it overnight, and I came back, and that didn't work too well. It started to make some the black carbon in there while it was making the green, and so I thought, oh, that's good. So I just dried that stuff. I stopped the experiment. I was doing it in a 33 gallon barrel. The reason why I'm going to the swimming pool, Rick, just for the fun of it, and to amaze people and to amaze myself, is my 33 gallon barrel or drum cost me $49, and my swimming pool, my 639 gallon swimming pool, cost me $42. So I was weighing out my cost benefits. 639 gallons for $42, 33 gallons for $49.
Are you hoping to maybe corner the Ganss market in the Western world or something like that?
No, I just want to see if it's possible. I just want to see how much Ganss a Ganss maker could make if a Ganss maker would make Ganss.
Yeah. Right.
And
Well,
so
why not?
I've got it set up.
I say, why not?
I'm out there digging and leveling off my ground. So I'm setting up 4 tanks. I'm setting up 3 in a circle. One's with the copper oxide, one for CH3, and the other one for the CO2 zinc combination. And the 4th one sits off to the side with a combo going. I have found that if I buy a brand new griddle that's cast iron, that it works pretty good for the CH3 because it's brand new. It doesn't have grease on. I bought one for $18, and so that made a pretty good plate.
Yeah, this
The,
is a,
the griddle was long
Mhm.
and lean, fits over two burners, and so it was a very nice griddle. So anyhow, that's it. I've wasted people's time here. People who have something good to say should be saying it. I'm just flapping my
Well,
jaws.
who can possibly upstage you on the Ganss swimming pool? You know, that's pretty big. So let's see
yeah,
what we can do.
yeah,
Well,
Denny, it's definitely not a waste of time because we're going to have manufacturers looking at bulk processes, and
Yep,
if you've already worked on a bulk process, we could certainly use your input.
yep. There's
well, we
probably
got to see
Chinese
how
doing it as we talk here.
my backyard is pretty rough right now. I'm in the process of leveling it up so I can use use it. And this is what I'm going to do. This is what I make I put the swimming pool is round. It has a. I could probably find a picture of it here on the internet, but uh, you have a filter on it, and I'm going to put a Venturi air drawing device so that it aerates the pool. And I'm going to cover the pool with a crop cover so that I can keep bugs and leaves out of it. And of course, I'll need to put a little frame over the top so the crop cover doesn't drop down in the pool. So I'm trying to protect my
What
materials.
what will
Is
the fluid be, Denny? What do you got in mind for that?
I'm going to use my here where I live, I don't have chlorinated water. I'm going to use the regular water that I have, the tap water, and fill up the tubs with that, or the pools with that. And I have found out when I do electrolysis that I do not need very much salt.
Mm-hmm.
In my 33-gallon barrels of making Ganss, I've used a cup of salt, and
Mm-hmm.
that's not very much salt. I usually boil it. I mean, I don't boil the salt first. I get it warm enough so that I can dissolve the salt in the water, and I put the water in my barrel already dissolved.
Mm-hmm.
So I use a saucepan, and I put about a cup of salt in that saucepan. That's about two quart saucepan. And so when I put the salt in, I taste my water to see if it's salty before I do anything with it. I mean, my 33 gallons, the gallon drum is a water barrel grade drum. And so I use that. I don't think my swimming pool is drinkable water grade, but I have noticed people when they're swimming sometimes they're willing to swim in a swimming pool. So I hope that this swimming pool isn't going to be too toxic, and I don't think it will be. And I think with them,
It should be self-cleaning with those the Ganss at the bottom, basically.
well, I'm going to use a filter because I want the pump. I want the pump to pump the air
Mm-hmm.
into the pool. And you can find these homemade Venturi air pumps, do-it-yourself Venturi things that
Mm-hmm.
pump air into the water. And so that's instead of using a stone and
Yeah. Yeah.
an aerator, that's what I'm going to do. And
Sure.
so I'm already using the 33-gallon barrels, and things are working out quite well with that. I have found that there's another thing that I found. Uh, when you go to make a power supply, you know what a wall wart is? A little DC. Let me see. Since I think I still have my cell phone. on audio video here. I didn't mean to do this, you guys. I didn't even want to talk today. I wanted to keep quiet. You see these things here? They're DC power supplies. You plug that into the wall, and then you buy these cheap this is still packaged, but it's a cheap voltage regulator and amperage regulator, and they were less than $10. This one right here was $4.98. So and this right here, well, I guess I have more than one laying around. This one right here, they were free because I had about 8 of them laying around the house.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
You
the
got
other thing
the
that
regulator off of eBay or something, I guess, eh?
you can, but the regulator I got off of eBay, but you can get them off of Amazon, so you don't have to wait, but they cost twice as much.
Okay.
And then these are little female, let me see, female units that you hook into these, and that just the power supply just goes into that. You see, and the female hooks on to this with a couple of wires, and so you can just take things apart with that. And I have found out that it just takes very little amperage and voltage to make any of this Ganss. I am down to less than a half a volt and a 50 milliamp.
Right. I mean, Armin's been talking about this for quite a while, that we don't need that more than a volt, or I think a volt or so. And or did he say 0.1 amp? I think is what Armin was recommending at one point, at least for
A
some.
0.1 amp would be 100 milliamps.
Mm-hmm. I think, or was it less than that, Armin?
No, not point. Yeah, 0.0.
Armin doesn't have a microphone right now, so he can't.
So anyhow, these things are fairly cheap. If you're willing to wait a month to get them out of eBay, out of China, they're really inexpensive. But if you want to spend a little, you want to get them quicker, you buy them off of Amazon, and they'll cost about $13, $14, $15 for this little device. These are all really cheap. You can buy, and you can set them up. You do this so that this power supply unit fits in there, and then you got the other thing, the outage going to the alligator clips. That's up to you. I use them both. I got so anyhow, I could bring that stuff up on the screen, but I really don't want to waste too much time here. So but I'm just saying that this. So for less than $15, I've got myself a power supply compared to $78 to a cheap regulated big box shaped power supply. And so then I could buy 8 or 9 of these. That's why I'm willing to experiment, because I was easy enough to find these laying around. I thought my wife had thrown them all away, but lucky for me, I hit them in a good enough spot. Okay, well, that's it for me. I'm not ready now yet to do all the brain work on making reactors. The new flying reactors. I've got stuff here to make them, but I'm a little dubious of acrylic. But so I've had these for 4 or 5 months going to do this, but now there's further knowledge we're along that maybe if I wait another month, there'll be more knowledge along, and I can just do a little bit of copying. I really don't want to use food Ganss. I want to use, and I don't want. I want to use just the regular kind of Ganss that I can make. I know that you can. There's probably enough variance in some of this stuff that you can get a reaction going without having to go to the max. You can do some of the minimum and get things going. You don't have to go
Yes, I believe so.
with a higher gradient. It's just as long as you can get uh, some movement. That's more of my thought. So anyhow, I'm stepping out of here now. Let somebody
Okay.
who's really got the brains go from here.
All right. Well, we'll try to search. We'll do a Google search for brains in our group here and see what we come up with. But thank you, Denny. That was excellent. Good information. All right. Who's got the brains? Denny's alluding to here. Anybody have something else to present? Just trying to get at least get Lee's picture back up, which is nice. I have to get my screen fixed here. There we go. Okay, who else has something cool they want to say or present here? Let me look at the live stream as well, see what's up there.
You know me, Rick. I'm always ready to fill in.
I see there was a question for Armin. How do you get the fields to rotate? But Armin doesn't seem to have a microphone right now, so he'd have to turn on his video, do hand language or something perhaps. Or you can maybe put something in the chat that could guide us. But
Mark, since we had a little, remember when Mr. Keshe was talking to you about putting the CH3 in your frame of your reactor?
Yes.
Do you recall exactly what he was saying?
Yes.
Would you relate that to Lee?
do you want to turn on your video, Mark, so we can see your hand gestures and stuff? if any.
Well, there'll be plenty, and if I open it up, it's well.
Well, we got at least another hour, so if no one else says anything specific they want to bring up and go through, then we can go with Mark for now. Yes, absolutely.
Anybody go first? Please go first.
Any breakthroughs that anyone like to bring up right now at this moment? Now's your chance.
We've been waiting for you, Mark. You've been getting off the hook the last 2 times, so it's your turn.
All right, Mark, let's go for it. And if anyone else has something later, then we'll go for that. So
Okay.
Here we are at Mark's studio, workshop, laboratory, living room, or whatever.
My small space, I don't have a lot of space, and that keeps getting smaller and smaller.
Space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of Mark. Okay, Mark, tell us what you're up to and what's on your mind now.
Oh gosh, where do you want me to start? Right? Because last week we talked about. I only had a little camera, and I can't do zoom in and zoom out and all that.
Okay, we can see you quite well.
Okay, well, let me turn my thing so I can see myself anyway here. All right, that's a little better for me. So I made the plastic balls and everything.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about it, yes. So my week's been very hectic, a lot of stuff, but I made some things because I kept thinking, you know, how are these going to work on top of my bench here? Kept thinking, oh well, you know, because I had I got the coils. This is just a demonstration ball because the stuff that I have is outside right now. I believe in conditioning things and the real stuff. And I have some pictures on Facebook. I don't know if Rick can get to them or not, but I have all the, I'm conditioning it right now. I started out with caustic, but I don't want caustic in my stuff anymore. So I went with salt and sugar. So I have, you know, the 4 bowls that are apart right now outside, 2 of them with salt, 2 of them with sugar, just to condition the bowls to get them introduced to everything we wanted to do inside the ball here. And I think that 3 or 4 days in the sun and the moon and you know, the 3-day cycle should be good. I have the coils inside, like I showed you. We never really got into it in depth, but that was my thinking, and that's what I have outside right now. Just kind of conditioning it, because I believe, like Denny said, and everybody says, we don't need motors. We need nature. This is all about nature, and it'll come to us very easily. So my first thought and everything was, you know, how is this going to work on top of my bench here if I even get anything working at all? So I'm thinking all week, boom, okay, let's work on a stand. We got to have a stand, get a stand. So I would have had a great presentation tonight, but I got some great little nephews that are they're rambunctious. They broke one of the bowls. So I had to go get a new bowl, and I got to start all over. But that's okay. Today, I'll show you. I made a stand here for the balls. Oh, good, you can see it. I made stands for it, so that, you know, once I have everything rotating and the rings inside it, I got the rings here, half nano coated, half, you know, I got 2 balls like this. So one nano coated, one non-nano coated, salt, sugar, salt, nano coated, non-nano coated. You know, so we're going to get a lot of action, a lot of good things going here. That's all fun stuff. So I'm a painter, and I don't think about stuff. I just do what I can do, and I'm thinking, and I needed a stand, and I needed another stand, and I don't know how it all worked out the way it did, but it did. So
That's clever.
So when I have 2 of them, I never measured anything. I never thought about anything. When I bought all the pipes, when I kept on building everything, I ran out. I had 1 pipe missing. I thought, oh shoot, I got to go back and get another pipe. But then I thought, well, wait a minute. If this is up here, and I had the other pipe that was connected out there, it would have kept it way far away from each other. This stupid thing said to me, no, don't, everything has a reason for a reason. So now when I had it, look at how it went. It was so freaking perfect, because when it first starts out, when I get my stuff started, because I'm not using no motors. So if you can imagine, I got both bowls. One's, and if you, I don't know, can you get the height here? When I made it, I swear, I'm telling everybody, I never measured a thing. When you look at it, each bowl, I'm at a halfway point right here. So when T1, top one, has salt, sugar, salt, or, you know, I might not be saying it right, but I got the rotation. I got not nano-coated, non-nano-coated, nano-coated, non-nano-coated. I have it all figured out. But I couldn't believe how this just worked out perfect. And it's the same height. So when the top ball comes in on this one, it hits right here. So it's a gradient. It's going to get a nice flow. How it worked out like that, my friends, I don't ask questions like that now anymore. I'm a painter. I could never have figured this out. So, okay. This ain't nothing. This was this week's work. I got something over there to show you, and this is I'm giving 15. I had this all worked out for 15 minutes. My heart's beating real fast. Once again, I did not plan any of this. So once this all came together, because we only learned about this stuff 2 weeks ago, right? 125 it started, where we figured move gradients and balls, and people started spinning stuff and working at it real hard. And I thought, man, don't use motors, use what nature has. So, and don't ask me why, but this worked out. We'll figure that. This is the small stuff.
You're going to fill the tubes as well with your Ganss water or something?
These?
No, the actual structure itself. The poly tubes there. Yeah, the white tubes.
The PVC.
PVC
Really?
rather, yes.
Listen, this was just started out to be a stand, but now I understand the stand itself. Let me move the next thing in. If somebody else has something else to do, I can do it in like 2 seconds here if they want me to keep going. But am I going too slow or fast? I don't know.
Oh, you need a break so that you can set up another experiment.
No, I don't need a break. I time myself, Denny.
Okay, so you just keep going.
Keep going. We're
I mean,
okay.
I'm not saying that. It's Rick's turn to say that. I'm
No.
just egging you on. Get going.
Yeah. Carry on. I think we're good here.
Okay.
We can.
Okay. 1 second. 1 second. Let me just raise this up just a hair. I'm right here. So. Let me sing a little song, but I'm terrible at singing.
Well, it's got to be one you make up yourself, so you don't have any copyright.
Because I listen, because I'm in. Dun, 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 dun. This is just for you, Denny. Because I had a dream or an idea when you talked about this a long, long time ago, maybe 6 months ago.
Yeah, you should never listen to me.
I know. But I consider you a friend, so who cares? I listen to everybody, and yeah, that's just the way it is.
Oh, there he goes. That's so.
He's got the Denny syndrome. If a 2 foot high mag-grav is good, then a 8 foot high mag-grav is better.
He's got 600 gallons in his backyard. I got a little space down here. I'm small.
That's 639. So now I'm working with the 639, and you got four pools. So you got to multiply that by 4.
So maybe now I can answer a few questions like Lee had. And I can answer a few questions about what Mr. Keshe said. Do I need more lighting or?
No, it looks pretty good. I'd say.
See it?
No,
It's
it
not-
looks good.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's pretty good. About as best we can expect, I'd say. Yep.
It's a little space. I threw a little. Maybe this one. Let's try this.
That's mainly the resolution of the camera is not all that great, but it's good enough. We can see what's going on quite well. Yes, it's clear.
Okay.
Yeah, it's focused on the item there. That works too, either way. Okay.
Better?
Yep.
Okay, so I kind of think you see what I made, right? You got an idea here? So couple of weeks ago, he told us, Mr. Keshe, you know, because it was on my bench, and he told us that, you know, we want fields, but we don't want the fields to interact. So I kept thinking, how are we going to keep that? So I don't know if I explained the rings, but the rings are self-sustaining because there's a vinyl pipe inside of each one. I don't know if I said that before or not, but there's a small vinyl pipe inside of each one of the rings. And then I had the one single copper wire goes through the ring and then comes back out in each and every ring. So that's just wiring, and so what's going to happen is each ring can accept different Gansses in the different rings in different areas, because I can open up each valve now and put each Ganss in each one that I need to do. So like Mr. Keshe said, what you want to do is you want the fields, but you want to keep the fields separate. And like I tried to slip in last week, each one of these, each corner of each one of the towers has a cap separating it. So when I take the when I go to put my Ganss water in the in each pipe, it's a removable cap here. I'll be able to fill my Ganss, which will actually work as an air chamber and another air chamber until the Ganss goes all the way down the pipe. Now this is a separate. This isn't connected. This is, well, I have to work with this by itself, and that's another issue. But it's easy to work with, and I know what to do. So it'll all go down. It's connected through here, and it'll fill each field. Now, what I did was on each corner, they're not drilled together, but each pipe, so say this whole field should be a CO2 field, which will be connected from top to bottom. This field from this pipe should be CH or CuO2 or CuO, connected the whole field. This one should be CH3, connected the whole field. Now, you say to yourself, well, what's he going to do with all the fourth one over here? This one's going to be the one that does the whole work. It's going to enjoy everybody's presence because it's the combination of the three. And whichever one needs something or doesn't need something will come from this portion of the field because it knows all three. And and last week we talked about it, that like Armin said, and I couldn't understand it at first. He said, well, you shouldn't mix CH3 with CuO and CO2. And I thought, well, why not? Because that would give you the rotating dynamic. Well, you don't want, he's right, you don't want that stuff to touch. In some portions you do. In the fourth portion you do, because you want that action to happen. In the natural portion, you don't want that to happen because that's the negative. It's the lower pH. The two of them are the higher pH. These two guys are ganging up on this guy. He's going like, man, I got to hold my own against these two lighter guys, these magnetical guys. This is the gravitational. He's heavy. He's working his own, but he's getting help now from these cats over here because this is a part of it. That's my theory. Okay, so and then Armin said, and then we get a gradients for the coating, non-coating and nano-coating. So this is my first tower. I have another one. Of course I have another one.
So, Mark,
Hello?
Do you have a madness to your method? What is it that you're trying to achieve?
Well, in this portion here, it's my, I have a madness towards this, but I really, it's not really a madness of any sort. I really think that, once we get these things built, at least at any portion of this, if every home, this setup probably cost me, I'm down here sitting in it, this portion probably only cost me $100. So just think, if every home could have one of these for $100, they could at least, once the fields are created, well, at least we, if there was nuclear fallout or if horrendous stuff happened and you needed a drink of water and you had someplace, because this is going to provide everything. Once we get to the point where these 4 natural states are going to give us what we need, at least this is going to be able to give us a place to go and sit and have refuge. Won't cost us much. Maybe, I don't know. That's just my thinking. Someplace to sit down and rest and have a place of refuge.
It's like it reminds me of a recharging station where you sit down and recharge yourself, basically, and maybe that would be a way of feeding in the future as well. And we've experimented, and Ali knows quite well about people sitting in the middle of his reactor combination and having good results and so on. Ali, do you want to say anything about that, or maybe not? Not sure if you're there. Well, he's not unmuting, so I don't want to unmute him in case he's in the middle of something. So.
Right. So this was just like when I don't know who just asked me the question, but at its basic form, at least that's what I, like you said, Rick. At least it's a place of refuge. If it makes you feel like you've a little bit of your thirst is quenched and your appetite is, and then you can, with the openings here and the, so that you can put the different. If it comes to the point where you need to put different food Gansses and metal Gansses and stone Gansses, at least it allows us to have access. You know what I'm saying? It's totally accessible at every point. I don't know if it's going to work, but I just thought that maybe, at one point or another, the flexibility of being able to, take different Gansses out and putting Gansses in. And now we know that we have to make different fields with different pHs. And that's the kind of thing that I thought we should at least have flexibility with.
Yeah.
In order to, the energy balls and stuff like that are, if my thinking is correct now, that might be a part of it that starts part of this, once it sits underneath it,
I bet it would look good on the very top there.
It looked good. I don't even know where it will look good, but this isn't even the, after this was 2 weeks ago worth of excitement for me. I'm not even over the top. I've got another one like this that I'm working on, and here's, I've got all the nano-coated plates for the second tower. I don't know how that's going to pick up. I've got all the leg.
We can see that. Yeah.
Okay. So that now that this will be the positive and the black will be the negative. And it's just a little bit taller. The second one's a little bit taller, just like the second one over there turned out to be a little bit taller.
I see. So you're going to keep those coils plain copper on the one we're seeing now. You're not going to nano coat them?
No.
I see.
Put Ganss on them, put them through the whole process, is the same process that nano coating goes through in a natural state now, so that it creates a gradient.
Yep.
Like it was making a gradient or a couple, two on the bottom, one in the middle, and that's
right.
It's we're all just experimenting. So I
absolutely cool.
A big gradient. Okay, so that wasn't even to me. This is all fun stuff, and I love it. And this is kind of mechanical stuff, and if it works, it's great. But I made a discovery today by mistake, and I'm still trying to comprehend a lot of stuff. It's happening quicker than I can comprehend. Has anybody else got stuff that I should stop now? Just move aside and have a drink of water. And I got one more thing that I just want to show people, that something happened today that when I was putting us all together, moving stuff, and I don't even know if it'll work again, but I got something up here in my Ganss that I did or made. The Ganss, because we have to connect ourselves with our units, and everybody's putting a drop of blood in. Well, I thought, we learned about how we had to be connected to the units, put ourselves in it a long time ago. And then I thought, I could make this an easy project for people because of what I did over here. But then I really started to think about how much in depth that this took to get to this point. So maybe it'll be a little bit harder for people to get to that point, but I can explain that if we have time in a little bit here. So I don't want to take a lot of people more time. I'm sure does anybody have questions?
Let's take questions. Surely somebody has a question for Mark here. I think it's great, Mark. It looks quite impressive. Time you have a reactor that's taller than you know you're dealing with something serious. Especially the legs it takes up. Needs a lot of leg room. It's assertive in its stance and so on as well. I really like the idea of the 3 fields that you've planned into it, and then the 4th with the combination. And the way you explained that was very nice. Thank you for that. It actually seemed to make sense. I'm wondering, is this something you'd like to show in the workshop, in the Knowledge Seekers workshop?
Sure. I show anything at this point, right?
I'll do anything. Okay, well.
You know what? 6 months ago, like I said, this was so overwhelming to me how it all came to bed. It came to me this easily 6 months ago, and it scared me so much I cut it all up and threw it away. I had the exact same stuff, a little bit more with rocks and crystals, but this is a little bit more of a stripped down version of it. But this now doesn't scare me. You know what I'm saying? I'm cool with it. I thought my mate. It's so funny. Just today, I'm treating my stuff outside my backyard. And my neighbor comes over. He goes, our president tells us to keep an eye on our neighbors. And I said, oh, well, hey, neighbor, come on over and check it out. I got a couple of bowls of sugar and I got a couple of bowls of salt. You want to stick your face in it? I stuck my finger in it. I said, you want to take a lick? I'm taking. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I'm not doing anything bad. Some stupid PVC, some salt, some sugar, and please, come on. Well, yeah, the scary part is it might work. That's what I think they're scared about. I told him it might work. Like his eyes are going like, really? It might work? I'm going, yeah. Now, and the most scariest thing of the whole thing is I told him it's free. He said, free? Aren't you going to get a patent for that? If it works? I go, no. Do you know what free means? He goes, well, yeah. I go, it's free. And if it works, I'll give it to everyone. Oh, well, you don't want to make money with it? Whatever. So if I got to explain that part to people, then if I got to explain what free means to people, then we're in a whole heap of trouble.
Well, a lot of people can't accept free. It's you got to cost something, or it's not worth it.
That concept to me just doesn't.
You just have to tell them it's free to everyone except you. I'll give a really fair price for it.
So anyway, I don't want to take anybody more. I got one more experiment I just wanted to show to people, but somebody else has got stuff. I got to have a drink of water here. And
Okay, we'll let you calm down a little bit, Mark. Thank you very much. That was excellent, excellent.
Like I said, Greg, anytime you need me to help and present, I'd be more than glad to answer any questions. I got a lot of stuff written down. I know exactly what I'm a painter, but I don't think I'm an idiot.
Thank you. I definitely not. Sorry, with Denny, was it Denny was going to say something there?
Yeah, I several weeks, 3 or 4 weeks back, I mentioned that I had bought a portable bathtub that you blew up, and then I was going to put Ganss in the liquid Ganss in the part that you blow up the air, and the first experiment was I put too much liquid Ganss in, and it become topsy tipsy turvy, and I had to frame it up a little bit. So then I took a lot of the Ganss out, and that's where a lot of my golden colored CO2 Ganss went. A lot of it went onto the ground, but once I got it set up to where it had a good equilibrium, it was a fairly good experiment. But I don't have time to lay around in an empty bathtub. So that was just an experiment to have the field surround in a bathtub, a portable bathtub, without having to get wet. So primarily, one of the real reasons why I went to the 33-gallon drums is I set them up in a triangular form, and I place myself in the middle. And here at my desk, let me see what I got here. My desk, I'll do that again. You see this one here. I'll just kind of go over here. This one is the CH3. This one is the CO2 zinc combination, and I set them up to where I have usually a triangular base. And while I was at it, so this year I had too much in this particular drinkable liquid Ganss because it was above my spigot. My spigot's up here, so I had to take this out. So that's what's so fun about this. How much Ganss can a Ganss maker make? If a Ganss maker would make Ganss, you just have Ganss, all sorts of Ganss coming out. And when you have a lot of these containers, because these are distilled water containers, and I bought a lot of distilled water. Now I got a lot of distilled water containers. These hold a lot of liquid plasma. And so now I store my liquid plasma in these as well. So I haven't experimented yet with the hippie beads yet. I was going to, and what I had planned on doing was just, as I'm making the Ganss, I just put the beads in the Ganss making while I'm making the Ganss.
Mm-hmm.
It blows my mind to think that would imbue those beads the way they are. And so, and the same thing with having the barrels and using the fields, and beginning to use your own fields in your brain and your emotions to start getting things to produce for you. And so part of my experimentation is to continue in that light. What are some of the because one of the experiments was so you're going to need to build the frame for your dome. Mr. Keshe was using the dome analogy, and so, but you don't need to even you can stick your hands in your Ganss water, your combination Ganss water, and utilize those fields to interact your own personal fields, whether they're the soul and the emotions and your physical uh, nature of your nerves, to where you now can create your own plasma fields that will contain themselves by the fields of your own desires. So that's one of the things that I I'm working on. I do presently. I spend time working on that, and that's why I want to sit in the fields as I work on them. One of the things that I do when I build those, I do the 33-gallon drums. I have a paddle that I will stir in the drum. Let me see. I'll just use this here. I will stir in the drum one direction until I got a vortex. Then I'll stir it in the other, and once I've done that, I I'm doing a giving system to the liquid plasma and to the plasma. Uh, love you, thank you, love you, thank you, love you, thank you. A type of and I even use them, my 33-gallon drums. I use them as drums, and I have a drumming mallets that I hit, and every time I hit that drum, it puts a wave or a frequency, especially after I've spun it. See, even this one here, because now as you touch it, it puts a feeling in. So I've got it reacting. That's when I've then can get it to pick up the intention or the desire. Another word is just to say my fantasy. It's my fantasy, and I'm using it. And if it works for me, it works. And
Well,
and
that's
so I
a brilliant idea, actually. Look at this. Look at the structure. The waves all come together at the very center, right? It's
yeah.
concentric.
And so
Well,
I
except
drum.
your drum is not totally centric, but it's got the
No, not
handle.
this one,
It's
but
got
my
a D part
my
there.
33-gallon barrels
But
are
but
shaped
that's
like
the
this.
idea, that it comes together at the center, which is very, very interesting, because that's where the fields are building up, and what do you call it? It's a combination of fields which gives you that wave in the center. So that wave will be going through the whole liquid, let's say.
It
Now,
does.
the reason I find this very interesting, let me just interject briefly here, Denny, because you've given me
Go
some
ahead.
inspiration, which is what's called the self-ionization of water, which I've been looking into a bit recently. Very interesting phenomenon where every 20 hours or so, every water molecule just spontaneously separates into its hydrogen and oxygen components and then recombines all within a picosecond. And why does it do that? It's because there are random fields that are intersecting that just happen to peak at a certain point inside the liquid, and just that molecule happens to be in the right position to receive that peak, and it's enough energy to actually separate the molecule into its hydrogen and oxygen components. And now they find it's not really hydrogen, it's actually H3O that it separates into, which is a very interesting substance in itself. Now, you take this self-ionization, that happens to all water, everywhere. It's just a spontaneous thing that happens with water. It self-ionizes. And I'm thinking, we've been trying to ionize our reactors for since day one. It's the first question Mr. Keshe asked, with how are you going to ionize it, how are you going to initiate and start the reaction. Well, here we have a substance, the water, which is self-ionizing. It's already wanting to start itself. Now with your little gentle thumping on it here, and you're putting waves, well, sound waves, but not just sound, it's vibration, which is different than just sound. And it's causing intersecting while we can see the structure on the surface, we can only imagine what's going on underneath the surface with the intersecting waves. So you might be energizing that plasma water through that process, maybe with 20 hours of steady drumming or whatever it takes for a shaman these days. Then maybe that's enough to suddenly reach the next energy level with the material, let's say, with the Ganss. Sorry, I'm not hearing you there, Danny.
Oh yes.
There we go.
But if my lips were moving, you know I'm lying, so you got to be careful.
Well, that's true of all humans, I find, so, including myself. Never trust a human when it's talking.
So my 33-gallon drum doesn't have the handles on it. It just has an open top,
Right.
And so you can close the top. It's an open top drum. It's not like it has the two openings up there. It's an open, so I use it for a CO2 kit, and so once I get it set up, I have several of them, and some are making Ganss, or some are for Ganss water. So when I don't have salt in it. It has the Ganss in the bottom, and it has the unsalted water, the distilled water. And so when I stir it, I get a vortex. Then I have a mallet that I made, and as its vortex is going, I'm drumming it, and then I do that. And then when I'm drumming it, I'm also and you drumming, shamanic drumming. You can look it up. It has a certain speed, variance in speed, and so the whole point is for me to then go into a certain state of myself, so that I then can utilize my, I don't care what it is. I can utilize a fantasy life to where I can come up with certain ideas, or come up with certain notions. At the same time, I'm giving to my Ganss water. So now I'm creating a powerful Ganss water, and I stir it one way, I stir it the other way, and then late at night, like a night, this is an exception, I would be out drumming it. And let me see, about that speed. And the drum barrel has different sounds for the different, and also the top has a different frequency when you send it down through. So and if you're
that wave in the middle start to really peak up, do you try to hit it so that you create that center wave, or what happens at the could you drum it again at the frequency that you would do it at?
I also have two mallets. When I want to, I'll change sides, or I'll hit them both sides, so that I can get a double.
Okay, you can see that center, like theoretically, if that center keeps getting resonating, it'll start to peak up, it'll jump right up to the top, basically, because it forms a sharp peak there.
And so that's the same thing I'll do with the swimming pools. I'll use them for drumming, and then after a while, I should find some drummers that will want to come and drum.
They sit around the outside of the pool and drum on the pool side, you mean? On the plastic
on the pool, and on the because I'm looking at the fields in between. I mean, it's not just making the Ganss, it's making the Ganss water, it's making the fields. That's part of it. And the other thing that I'm after is finding 4 people who want to use their abilities to make the spaceship with their own intent.
And that's a different kind of pool party, eh?
And so that
plasma pool party.
And so that's my method. Once I have it set up and I have a drumming situation, I'm looking at it because these people are pretty far out, these drummers. So they're already out there. so I could probably catch them at a certain plasma frequency just right. That because I haven't given up on that 4-person spaceship.
Right
Just
on.
just using the ability of the 4 people. And actually, I think it's not just for you take the the star formation, but you also use 12 people acting as reactors and another 24 out beyond them. So there's still uh, this way to make a spaceship and to do things with just the power of your own essence. So that's one of the things that I keep working on as well. I
Well,
have
that's
some.
a big one, Denny. Thanks for adding that to the conversation because it's a big. Well, it's the most important part of the whole thing. Actually, it's not just big, but it is the most important. The our inner state and our intention and attention when it comes to these assemblies of parts that we put together and work with in our world, in our apparent physical universe in front of us. So yes, it's the internal state, trying to get back to that essence state where one is tuned into the Ganss, and you get feedback from your environment then when you're tuned in as well, so that you learn, well, I have to drum a little bit faster, a little less, all the little idiosyncrasies in the conditions of the environment become more apparent the more you pay attention, and that's where you penetrate the experiment and get closer to the core principality of the matter, let's say. Or not the matter, you might say. In this case, getting closer to the core, anyways.
The principal plasma.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Which is our essential self. That is our essential self. That is our presence. That is our pure presence, with no other attachments. In my opinion, of course,
Did Mark get a chance to rest up?
Hey, Mark, you still there in the background? You're ready for another round?
Well, you guys both set me up pretty good.
Well, we all set ourselves up. That's what we're trying to do here.
Well, before I start, does anybody else have anything else?
Well, someone might have something to say about what was just said or shown. There is the iPhone has a question. It says, "Hello, everyone. Who is on iPhone, by the way? And what is your question?"
It's me, Zane. How y'all doing?
Oh, hi, Zane. Good.
Hi, Zane.
Um, I'm okay. I'm trying to make the gold making reactor. You know, I have some friends that are in real desperate need right now. They're going through a transition period. They found a piece of property and it's going for really cheap. And I would really like to help them out. I I got my plastic balls,
Mm-hmm.
and I made some GANs of 22 karat gold and some GANs of 14 karat gold, and I bought some pH up and some pH down, and uh I was wondering if anyone can give me an idea on exactly the proper way of going about setting up the balls, because the first ball that I made, I put my blood in it, uh some uh some of the liquid plasma of the 22 karat, some of the liquid plasma, the 14 karat, plus a mix of the other GANs. There are no GANs inside the ball. It's just all liquid plasma. I left a little bubble in it for the pH up. I wasn't exactly clear on the amount that I should put in it, but the pH that I got, it's not a liquid form, it's a granule form. So I figured it might be a little easier to play with. And in doing so, I know that one of the ball reactors has to be of a high pH, and the other ball reactor has to be of a low pH, but of the opposite of the first. Is that correct?
Say that again. That one ball. Just say the last sentence again.
Okay, I know that the one ball reactor has to be of a high pH level, and then the second ball reactor has to be of a low pH level, of the opposite of the first.
Right.
And so does anyone have anything they can add to that to maybe help me along the way?
What else is part of that equation that Mr. Keshe elucidated the other day? Having the two, was there another reactor involved? A third reactor? That was the reactor that does the creating, is that right? And the other two are the field reactors? Anybody help me with that?
Like the transmutation, and the other one is the one that kind of directs the transmutation.
Anyone have any memories on that or direction?
Yeah, I have. I think what it was. Hello, everybody.
Hi, Mario.
Hey, Mario.
Um, as I recall, you want to have two sets of balls loaded opposite, so that you have an interaction of the fields in between. And if you've got the fields with like the spectrum of Ganses, then you should have the full spectrum of everything. Also coming out of the central core where they're connected. Then you take your gold Ganss and you find the spot where it hits a Coulomb barrier, where it interacts with the gold fields in the reactor. But you need to find the right spot with the Ganss that it finds a Coulomb barrier and scrapes against the Coulomb barrier, and you rain gold. That was my understanding. So you have your two reactors to create the dynamic field. And then you take your gold Ganss, you could take a piece of bread or a potato or a grapefruit or whatever, and should be able to find those fields. Those fields will lock, but you need to get the matter level. So you got to find the right spot where you're holding it in relation to the fields, where it scrapes against the fields. I think that's
so there's no need to have the gold GANs inside the ball reactors at all.
My understanding is no, but I mean, I suppose if you have it in there, it's okay. But you should have really. I could be wrong about this, but my whole feeling is when those two fields create that figure eight, that figure eight is a real infinity loop. It's not just fields going around and around a race car track. There's an opening in the center. That's the central core. So that's going in and out. When those fields are going in and out, I think you have the full spectrum of everything in the universe. So, I mean, that's my understanding. You only need those fields to interact to open up the central core. And then you get your gold Ganss and you find the right spot. You might have to position the two sets of balls the right way so that they're tighter or looser, and then, tweak it, so to speak, to find the sweet spot. And then you raining gold.
Okay, all right. So I understand that. What about do they need to be spinning?
Well, if you have the fields in the opposite, then the fields should be interacting like a figure eight.
Right. So there's no need for it for any rotation at all, because it's going to create its own rotation through the fields.
I think so. I mean, I would guess, yeah. That's the idea, that you don't need the motors. If you want to have physical motion, then you're going to have to spin the balls or do something else. That Dr. Gatua has already gotten it. He's already gotten motion, and it's perpetual. That ball, that water spins in that container all the time. So he's gotten perpetual motion, but that's a different way of doing it. He did it with just an interaction of the balls.
Right.
So I don't think you need the motors.
Okay. All right.
So
I got it. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I'm sorry. Go ahead, please.
Well, I was going to say, I think that manually spinning the different balls is a way to control the fields for a flight reactor, so you can fly a spaceship with manual controls. Because otherwise, how do you control it?
Well,
You know?
yeah. Well,
Yeah, that's
With your emotion.
yes.
well, that's the real way to do it. Yeah. Sorry.
Well,
Yeah.
what I understood from that was whenever Dr. Keshe was speaking along the lines of making the ball reactors and putting them in a liquid plasma, having the 3 ball reactors in a liquid plasma, and then having the 4th reactor with just CH3 in it rotating above those until they lock in a position. And then once they lock into position, then there's no stopping it. Then we have motion and everything through our emotions because of the blood interaction with the fields, right?
Yeah. So I don't know why we're spinning them at 5,000 RPMs and all that stuff. It's about
Yeah, I don't understand why anybody's spinning anything. It's crazy.
Well, the idea originally with the spinning was about the so-called Ganss ring that forms inside the balls. Like this one, you don't see it right now, but it used to have it on the sides here, and these balls actually do have them inside. If I could light one up, you might be able to see
Right.
inside that. Oh, that ring kind of fell off. The one in the back has a ring. You can, let me turn off my other light. Maybe you can see it here.
No, the camera's too far away, Rick. Sorry, brother.
Well, you have to trust me that I can see an actual ring inside this ball. And it's pretty popular that there's such a thing called the Ganss ring that we were experimenting with a year or 2 ago. And that forms from anywhere from around 1,000 RPM or more. It'll start to form that ring in the ball. And then when you stop, if you stop slowly, then that ring stays. It can stay for forever, basically, or at least for days or weeks or whatever, just even after the ball comes to a stop. But then everything is sort of locked into place according to its gravitational weight. And so the heavier Gansses will be at the very edges of the ball. Demonstration of the heavier Gansses will be at the edge here, and then the lighter Gansses and lighter Gansses in sort of a series of rings. So that was the idea of the spinning originally, but now we have the idea that you just have a ball of Ganss and another ball of Ganss, and the interaction creates the flow, creates the spin, in effect, of the, maybe we're not looking, maybe we don't need to look for a macro flow where we actually see the thing spinning. Maybe it's the actual, on a micro or rather nano level, that the actual monoatomic materials are spinning at high speeds, and we can't see that normally because it doesn't manifest.
No, I feel it. I know it's working. I don't need to see it to believe it.
Yeah.
Mr. Armin, are you there?
Yes.
Have you tested the gold theory yet, sir?
No.
No.
No interest for me.
Yeah. Well, I know I could use a little help, and I know a lot of people that could use a little help also, and I would really love to be able to help them.
Just have an understanding how you load your reactors. If you have a gold Ganss and just one core, even to rotate, you create a demand for it. Even you don't need to rotation, but still we are in that phase that we are rotating to see it, to explain it, you know, so you can put it in a rotation. But it's your desire. That's
And there's a saying that like attracts like, and you know, you can have a small bit of gold, and if you put your attention on that, it will tend to attract other pieces of gold to it. So you'll tend to run into gold perhaps in your life once you've focused on that. But it's a similar thing perhaps with the reactors, where if you really focus on it, on what you're trying to create, and your wish is true, like in your case, for example, Zane, you want to, you know, well, for yourself, but also you want to get this gold to help others so that they can, you know, get this piece of land and live, you know, without being hassled or whatever, to have a better life, essentially, for others. And that's a pretty good intention to have in terms of trying to do this sort of thing. One's personal intention is, you know, for stuff for oneself may be sort of a selfish way to look at it. But if you can do things for others, I think you really got it nailed there. May they be golden nails.
So, Mr. Orman, I have a 88 millimeter ball. I got a 50 and a 30, and the 30 is the one that I loaded with a mix of Ganss, just the liquid plasma and the gold and my blood. Can you guide me through the rest of the other two? What I should fill them with?
A mixture. Your two balls that you are rotating, it's a mixture of fields. It's not only gold.
Right.
It's a mixture of plasmas that, you know, when you present a gold in a third reactor, then you create a demand. So if you're mixing your balls, you know, Ganss into the center ball, an outside ball, you have three balls, correct? But
Well,
80 millimeter is too big. How are you going to rotate those?
the 80, the 50 goes inside the 80, and the 30 is inside the 50. It's three balls.
Yeah, but you know, the ratio is too huge. After 50, you have 80. The balls that you know, it's 30 millimeter, 40 millimeter, and you know, let's say 50 millimeter. This fits perfect together.
Can I show you?
Sure, you can.
Yeah, give me 1 second. Well, the one I already made. I can't put my camera on. It's disabled.
What is it? You can't put your camera on?
No. There we go. There we go.
It's too big. It's very big, man.
The one in the center is already loaded.
Yeah.
It's got some love in it too, man. It seems like it really wants to do something.
But it's this is too big. You know, how you gonna rotate it?
Really, I got a perfect fan motor that the big ball will sit right on like a suction cup. But I wasn't even thinking that I needed to rotate them at all. I was thinking once I put the pH up inside the center, and then had the CO2 and the copper GaNs in the middle ball, and then the the outer ball would be the same thing that's in the inside, except without the blood, and then but pH down.
Let me explain you this different way that you can understand.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Should I just keep it rotate? Okay, just consider your body. What your body does when you convert the food in your stomach. Sorry, this is not good.
It's okay, I understand.
Okay. In your body, in your stomach, it's acidic, correct?
Yes.
Your lymph, it's alkaline.
Okay.
Okay. So now when you have this condition, you create a flow between alkaline and acidic. But in alkaline, you still have a little bit acidic. And in acidic, you have still a little bit alkaline.
Right.
So just when you load your reactors, you have to understand these points. How you're loading it and what you're loading it. In your stomach, you have all the materials. Correct?
Yes, sir.
So it's in acidic condition. Outside, it's in alkaline condition.
Okay, so the alkaline, could I just use the CO2 and zinc GaNs? Would that be alkaline enough?
Just no, you can use it. Okay. In your lymph, you carry all the fields too.
Okay.
In your stomach, you carry all the fields because it's a Ganss state. So when you transfer the fields to your lymph, now your lymph carries all the fields, whatever you ate from your stomach or you absorbed from your skin and from your breathing. It's a combination of the fields. The gold that you hold in one ball, let's say you gold, that's what your wish is. That's in these balls you can have gold and everything, lead, whatever Ganss, you can mix it there. But in what your wish is, it's in a one ball. So when you present that field into between these two reactors, then you get what your wish is. You understand?
Yes, sir. I have another question.
Mm-hmm.
See, I don't have a pH meter. I have pH papers, so I'm kind of winging it, doing it the shady tree method. Which is it possible that I can do it that way, or?
Yes, you can make acidic. Even you can use your battery acid too, but you know the alkaline you don't need the pH up. You just use NaOH.
NaOH.
Yeah, if you mix NaOH with your GaNs,
Yes, sir.
you know, washed GaNs, whatever you have, your pH will jump 13 and a half.
Okay.
You understand?
Yes, sir.
So you keep the GaNs because you can convert the GaNs to acidic condition or alkaline condition. That's why you wash them. So then you can, you know, mix the way you want.
Okay, so in the first reactor, it's got to it's got to be of a high acidic and alkaline content. And then the second
Your mixtures, yes. In reality, yes. If you create that kind of condition, then what you have, to understand. So alkaline is start to interact with alkaline, and acidic will start to interact. You create an 8.
An 8, yes, sir.
4 fields interacting. 2 fields interacting, actually.
And then another reactor that of a lower alkaline and acidic.
No, higher alkaline.
Both reactors higher?
No. Yes.
Huh. Okay. I thought if it was a lower, then it would create a pool of the fields to make it, more of a.
Your stomach is acidic.
Yes,
your
sir.
Is alkaline, but still it has a little bit acidity inside too. So create acidic, create alkaline, but in a center, you create a mixture of Ganss, whatever mixture you have.
Yeah, I have a crazy mixture.
Why it's crazy?
Yeah, I just have so many. I got a little bit of everything, and I worked so hard to get it to this point. Now I just have to figure out exactly how to use it the proper way, so where I can benefit and help everyone that's around me.
Okay, put it in motion. Try it, see it, test it. Not one, don't test one.
Yeah, I got 3 dozen balls.
So 3,000 balls, and try to mix it differently and see what's the interaction it will be.
Yes, sir.
You show us something new.
I will try my hardest. I swear. Next Tuesday, I will definitely try and show y'all something new.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate you, brother. Man, I really appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you that you are over here and trying to create something. It's important. I'm happy.
Can I show you something crazy I did?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, Armin, maybe you can stop the screen share, and
sure,
we can go to his video.
Okay. Let me see. Whoops. I made this like Alex bead set, and it's 27 of them. And inside here, I made this Carolina, kind of a Carolina core, but I didn't put a butterfly in it, which I should have, and I'm upset that I didn't. But inside there is a 3 stacker that I tied these 2, and it did have liquid plasma inside of it, but it evaporated and crystallized all along the inside of the bowl. But I was just trying to see if I could start feeling and interacting with the free plasma, if it was possible, to maybe get some kind of movement. But this down here is my Ganss band.
already interacting with plasma.
Sir?
You are already interacting with plasma. Look, look, whole nano-coated materials, Ganss, everything in a plasmatic condition.
Yes.
So you don't interact with it?
Yes, very much. Yes.
So
I was thinking more on a level of like uh subconsciously, or I don't know, more of like a feeding, you know,
mhm.
like it would help me along the way. But those GANs, that's a mixture of GANs that have been in there for quite a while.
Today I made a Ganss of brain.
Really?
Mhm.
Good one, Armin. What kind of brain did you Gans up?
Not a monkey, huh?
Wow.
Not a human, I hope. Okay, I'm gonna mute the video there.
Let me show you.
Just let me get that up here, Armin. Just hold it there 1 second. Okay, good. That's the Ganza brain?
Yes.
Wow. What what
This
is what does it look like to you at the bottom? It looks kind of like sort of white crystalline or
yes.
gelatin.
Whitish. It's all whitish.
Uh-huh. Is it like jelly or is it more like
Jelly.
Gans?
Jelly. It's a very fine, like puffy. It's a first one, only one wash I did, and I'm gonna keep it this way.
A little bit of salt left in it for because our
It's not
brains need
really
some
salt.
salt.
It's actually cooked several hours. Give
Oh,
me.
goodness.
It's cooked several hours, and after that, you know, I smashed it in a very tiny, like a puree. Then I put a caustic, NaOH, and the caustic process.
Okay. And what, pray tell, are you planning on doing with your
This
brain?
is a calcium,
Gans?
pure calcium.
Ah,
It's for medical use.
it's funny you mentioned calcium. I bought some calcium carbonate today, which is actually very cheap. They use it as an antacid, and I wanted to make some uh, copper acetate and um, calcium carbonate crystals, which you can do and are beautiful, beautiful transparent blue.
Has anyone been able to develop any invisibility through the monatomic carbon through to create an sp3 bond structure?
Invisibility?
Yeah.
What do you mean invisibility?
Well, graphene in a sp3 structure can render things invisible, and I was wondering if maybe in a monoatomic level, like the CO2, just like two carbon rods, if it was possible to create that.
I don't know where do you get the information that the graphene can turn things invisible? The way I
Uh,
understand it, it's
up,
atomic layers, and that the graphene is invisible in those few monoatomic layers. Like, but maybe
but
there's a
you're
different
you're in Canada,
understanding.
aren't you?
Mm-hmm.
Man, you ought to know about all this. Y'all's army is deep in invisibility.
Okay, well, you mean making things black, going in, making blackness and that kind of invisibility with the
No,
graphene,
where
where
it
it's a,
bends light. It bends light around whatever structures within.
Okay, okay, that one. Right. Okay, well that's another idea there.
Okay, guys, I gotta go. Thank you very much, Rick. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Armin. Thank you for your vital information there. I thought it was very timely and appropriate. So thanks a lot.
Thank you, Armin.
You're welcome, guys.
Appreciate you, brother.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Armin.
You're welcome, guys.
Have a great day.
You too.
Yeah, speaking of graphene, graphite, I bought some graphite hollow rods the other day to experiment with for drive rods for the reactors to isolate from the motor somewhat. So we'll see how that goes maybe next week. Okay, does anyone else have anything in particular to bring up at this point in time? Otherwise, we might fade off into the sunset here. We've been going for 2.5 hours or so almost.
I'm sorry that I came in so late, y'all.
Hey,
I know
you were right
y'all-
on time, no problem. Mark,
Thank
did you have something else that you wanted to... thanks, Zane. Mark, did you have something else you wanted to show there? I know your video is on and showing us a bunch of Ganses.
Well, I could. I know it's late. Do you have to get to a meeting or anything like that?
No, let's go a few more minutes if you got something you want to show there, and let's see what you got.
It's pretty wild. I couldn't understand it when I first did it, and everybody's talking about interaction with our Ganss, right? Let me look around here. Let me turn my screen around here. And I won't try to. I'm not going to try to take up too much time, but I just want. I had a funny. I don't know what happened here because, like I said, well, first of all, when Armin told us about the pH, and we discussed it last week, my meter was wrong. Well, and I went out and I made sure that, because I called the company and I said, well, what's wrong with my meter? And the dude said, well, are you calibrating it every other time? And I said, no, I calibrate it like once or twice out of the 30 days. He said, no, how many times you use it? Well, I said, so like 2 or 3 times a week. He said, oh, no, you got to calibrate it. So I went out and I bought the calibration stuff for the pH 7 and the pH 4. So every time now you can get a good calibration because I can't afford the one that Armin has because that's a good one. I can only afford the little stick one. But besides that, so anyway, so now I got some really good readings on my pH on the 6 here, and I understand why he didn't understand why my readings were off for the CO2, for the CH3, for the CuO, and I did it in 3 different forms. But now I got a good reading, and I talked to the guy at the with the stick, and I got good readings, and now I understand what he said was because the CH3 should be the lowest, and he's right. The CH3 is a 5.6, and like the CO2 is the 6.9, and on the opposite end here, the good end, which is the exit end, the CO2 is 7.0, and the CH3 is 6.6, 6.6, 5.6. CuO now reads at 6.3, 6.4. CO2 now reads at 6.9 and 7.0. So now I'm getting a true reading. Like he said, there's a plus and a minus. So I'm playing around today. So anyway, with the blood introduced and the motion, and should we get motion out of this, or should we get motion out of what we so anyway, like Caroline said, and the deeper thought was, I made my Ganss. All these Gansses are made from salts that I put my feet in. I steep the water. I have the salt. What I did was I got the water as hot as it could be. I put the Himalayan salt in, put my feet in it, and I just let it sit for 30 days. And this is how I made my Ganss. And that's why I thought this experiment couldn't be easy for people, because you'd have to go through all this in order to make it work. And if it works right now in front of you, like it worked for me for the last 3 times, I'll be totally amazed. So anyway, so what I did was, people that have been putting their blood in the water, I didn't like that idea. You got to cut yourself, and it didn't feel right, and it didn't, to me, it didn't feel complete. So I thought about it. First of all, putting your feet in water and salt, that's the introduction to everything. Caroline told us, introduce yourself to everything. Well, the beginning is our feet. It's earth, it's everything. It's the start and the beginning. So that's how I started my experiments. So now it's got me to this point where I thought, blood doesn't. So for 30 days, I grew out my fingernails, all 10 of my fingernails and all 10 of my toenails. And it was tough, because I'm a nail. I bite my nails, but I got enough nail from side to side to where it was enough to where I could clip it, so that it was enough of me. Because I think that even when in death, when our body goes away, they tell us that the nails still live on. They grow. And then I thought, well, hair, and they said hair does the same thing. So I took 10 fingernails, 10 toenails, and 10 and a clipping from the top of my head, the core. I just went up there with scissors and figured, that's the center. Boom, cut a piece off. And then I made a mixture in a little container about this small, with the 10 and the 10 fingernails and then 10 toenails and a little bit of hair in it. And then what I did was I just put distilled water in it and a little bit of NaOH, right? NaOH, yes, the caustic. And then I just let it set for a while, and I had it up on my stuff, and I'd mix it up, and it was in a little container like this. And then I said, well, that's cool. And it started breaking everything down. So then every from France, Rick, Klaus, no, the food guy from France told us to wash it with CO2. Jill, no, Claude, no. The French, he's the French guy that, am I still on?
Figure out who you're talking about there. I think you know who you mean.
Not Klaus, but
We
anyway.
know at least 8,000 French guys.
Hi, Sandor. So anyway, I think you can kind of follow the story. So anyway, it broke down my fingernails and hair in the NOA, and the solution was real nice. So then I took it because I was ready to wash it, and like he said, use CO2, the best of the CO2 I had. Now I don't want to
I
touch
think you're talking about Jackie, perhaps, eh?
Jackie.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Jackie. I'm so sorry, Jackie. That's who I'm talking about.
Right on. Yep.
Okay.
Carry on.
So
Sorry.
so I don't want to touch it yet. I want to finish the story. So I transferred it out of this into just because I wanted to wash the solution now from just an all caustic solution, and my nails and everything broke down in this here into a bigger container just to start washing it. So I took this and put it into a bigger container, the whole thing, caustic and everything. And then I just added distilled water and about 6 milliliters of CO2. I took it and it filled it up to where it's about 16, a little bit more than 16 ounces. So I figured I'm just going to wash this stuff and I'm ready to go. But today I had to move it around because I had all that other stuff ready to go. But I was holding it, and I hope it happens again. And I have to be really still. Now should be all me inside this. So I'm going to just slide it off where I've been keeping it. Can you see it?
Light there. It's hard to see. Maybe less light would work better.
Less light. It's already started.
What do you see there?
From the bottom of the Ganss, it's shooting to the top. Now I'm starting to move it, and it's already doing it. It's having a reaction from my hand, from my thumb to the top. Let me just turn around and look. Because it's going to keep on doing it. I know it is.
Yeah, that's better there. We can see a little better.
Okay. See a little bit of the CO2 that's already on the top? Watch it start jetting out from the bottom to the top. It comes out from the bottom of the thumb.
Yeah, well, it'll tend to do that from the heat from your thumb, I would suppose, but also, I mean, maybe a field thing happening. I'm not sure. We can see things moving around there pretty good, yeah. Like sort of a jet going up to the top, eh?
Watch it get real thick. It's gathering around the bottom of my thumb. And once it gets really heavy, the material that gets real heavy, and then all of a
Wow,
sudden,
it looks like almost a vortex in the center there. There's a thread going up to the top, eh?
exactly.
Oh, that's
If I
nice.
put both of my hands on there, it'll shoot.
Yeah.
See
But
the big.
what if you put a light bulb, put it over a hot surface like a light bulb or something? It'll do the same thing, correct?
I don't know. I never did that.
Okay, well that'd be one thing to try. Because the question would be, can you isolate whether it's a heat related incident or is it a field related incident? Is it strictly heat from, you could put, I don't know, flashlight or over a candle flame or over a lighter?
Okay. What about if I put a dimium magnet under it?
I don't know what that would do.
I don't know either. You want me to try it? Where are they? Here they are.
Could, but I was more interested in the heat thing in a way. But no, do the magnet. That's good, please. I'd like to see that too. I've always had a hard time getting the magnet to affect the Ganss from the outside, but maybe some will.
No effect.
Now, if that magnet was heated up to the same temperature as your body or more, maybe
I
it
got a
would.
light here. No, that might not be strong enough.
Mm-hmm. Have to be a
Yeah,
warm. What
yeah,
about?
because once I stop, it settles down.
Mhm.
And
Like if
once
you
I put
put,
my
do you have a lighter or a candle or something like that you could hold not too close, but close enough to warm it up a little bit on the bottom and see if that would affect it?
well, I have a lighter, but if
Probably
I
don't.
burn it, this
Well,
is
you
my
don't want to burn it. You don't want to boil your Ganss either. But
no.
I thought maybe a few inches underneath it would have about the same body temperature. Yeah, something like a light bulb would be good.
Yeah, I'm just wondering. Let me think how I could get this off the wall. Well, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Just hold on 1 second. Let me see if I can get this one off. Where this is what it's all about, right? We
Sure,
don't.
I'm interested in this phenomenon, but I'm aware that colloids and Ganses and stuff can make movement with
So we
heat.
just you might think that it's just the heat from my thumb that's making that move.
Right. Yeah.
And if we
I
add
want
more,
you to I want you to prove it to me that it isn't.
okay, hold on, hold on. I got my gun out. I'm taking stuff apart just to see if
we we
I can
hear
get this.
we hear the action and our
Okay,
mind
hold
is
on,
racing.
because I know we don't have much time. Come on.
There's the test with the heat, but there's also a test. Place your hand on the bottom, place the other hand on the top, and see if it will react to your will.
It does.
Can you force it back down? You mean, or something, John? Is that what you mean, or?
Well, or get it to make a specific shape, or get it to turn in a left-hand spiral, or just
Tell you the lottery numbers or something. Something
concentrate the
significant.
energy between the palms of your hands
Mm-hmm.
and imagine
Yeah.
a vortex in there, and see if it'll match the vortex.
Mm-hmm.
Just
Yeah.
simple stuff like that.
Hey
Yeah.
Rick,
Hello.
I got some CH3 gains, and man, they're attracted to a magnet. Is that gains at all?
Well, what part's attracted to the magnet? When you put it on the side of the Ganss jar, do you
No,
see black
uh,
stuff or do you
yeah,
see red stuff?
I put the whole magnet inside
Mm-hmm.
the container because I wanted to see what would happen,
Mm-hmm.
and it just attracted right to it. And whenever I pulled it up, it was like a big goop on it,
Of what color?
black.
Yeah, well, the black will be the material, more physicality stuff from the metal, whereas the
So,
Ganss itself won't usually be black. It'll be the red or brown color.
so
So
it's
I
probably time to change the material that I'm using and start over, huh?
well, I found that my Ganss, my CH3 Ganss, I thought it was quite pure, but when I put a magnet to it, it did have some black stuff, and I pulled it up the side of the glass that the CH3 was in, and I could see that was pulling only on the black and maybe some of the red particles, but it was mostly the red would stay on the bottom, and the black would be pulled up the side with the magnet. So you could try that and. Clarify on that, whether it's just the black or there's some of the red that might be attracted too.
Okay. And he look, I'm on my last copper GANs production. Whenever I was transferring the GANs, they were a copper color. Okay. And then and at the bottom of the bucket there was a lot of goop. So I transferred the liquid out of the bucket, and then I put the goop, which was red, into just a container. And I wish I could show you what it looks like now, but
Did it turn
um
black?
no, it turned the blue like Ganss. All the copper color turned green.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, people often run air, air bubbler to change it over. I understand. I haven't done that myself, but
Yeah.
I do
Well,
have a bubbler
I got
to
an
do that.
oxygen machine that I run it, that I pump into it,
Oh yeah.
but that
Well, how
I
did you
still
start out with the red Gans to, or the how did you get the sludgy stuff? You probably use electricity, right, with some voltage
yeah
to it,
I was using
right?
um point 0.2 amps.
Right, which is quite a bit. And what voltage?
It was less than a volt.
Oh yeah. Well, it's quite a high amperage, and
Just
that was probably
I thought
enough.
point 0.09, I mean point 0.02 is like really low.
0.2 or 0.02?
No, point 0.02.
Okay, that's like 20 milliamps, and that's not too bad.
Hey
Well,
Rick, I have some CH3 right here that's red, and it
mhm.
moves with the magnet. I can
This
push it around.
the CH3 does.
Yeah, doing it right now.
Can you show us a video of it, or?
Yeah, sure. Let's start my picture.
Okay, that'd be great. Just let me get you set up here. Hang on.
My
Let me get
internet's
it
really bad.
pinned. There we go.
It's red. You see it's moving around? It's
Are
red.
you sure the part that's moving is red and it isn't black?
All of it looks, no, it's not black. It's definitely red.
Mm-hmm.
You see
I
it?
I don't think you want that. I don't think you want a magnet to move your Ganss like that.
Well, when and I tried, I got a nano-coated copper wire in a coil. A friend of mine last year took a coil, and he put it in a drawer with some magnets just to store it somewhere. And for a while, he said the copper acted like a magnet for a minute. So I think I put it next to some magnets in a container, in a drawer, same thing. And it looked like it was sticking to the magnet. So, but then right away it wasn't anymore. So it was temporarily magnetized. So now I've got it sandwiched in between. I was thinking if I could get that copper to act like a magnet, the nano copper, might be able to get something out of that. Not really sure what, but it really looks to me like this is like, if I bring it up to there, can you see the color of it? It's red that's moving. That's all.
Seems like a
Mine,
very dark red, though. Eh?
yeah,
Yeah,
mine does the same thing.
I'm still washing it. I'm still washing it.
Yeah.
That's just, I still needs another couple of washes, I think, because I use a lot of salt. I use very little, but I got iodized salt, so I've been trying to, I thought, well, waste some extra water washing it extra times. And I dumped the whole, like I want to keep the amino acids in it, so I just take the container and I don't pull out the Ganss. I just start washing it right in the container. I just poured it right in there. So it's got the amino acids and everything all mixed in there, and it's still got a fair amount of salt. But I mean,
That's
when you put,
interesting.
yeah,
Well,
you
it
see
makes
it's like,
sense. It's got iron as part of its structure, and that's magnetic substance normally. But
yeah, and
what is other people's experience with that? Is that CH3 GANs always magnetic for others? Any feedback?
Mine's doing the same thing. I can show it to you right now. It's crazy.
If there's something that's attracted to the magnet, though, that means there's a metal content in the water. Isn't that correct?
well, it's also
No,
possible that the Ganss is behaving like a magnet. In other words, it's transferred the fields. When you put that magnet next to it,
Yeah,
it's
but
magnetizing the
yeah, but
metal.
I,
Is that the
to
iron?
to our understanding, CH3 shouldn't be magnetical. It should be gravitational. There should be.
No, I thought
It should,
CH3 is magnetical.
No, it is magnetical, man.
Yeah, it's magnetical. But it also,
CH3 is magnetical.
yeah, it's
Well,
the energy.
it's
Well, it depends on how you use it, I suppose.
I think it's both in a way because
Yeah.
we look at it as gravitational in the sense that it draws in and so on, but at the same time it seems magnetical, at least in the uh, perhaps more in the matter state magnetical rather than the plasmatic magnetic.
Exactly, because it's in a matter state. CH3 is gravitational because it's pulling in the lighter matter.
Maybe, but I don't think so. I thought my understanding was Mr. Keshe said the reason what happens with the CH3 is it's magnetical and it releases its fields, and so it always needs to draw from the stronger to balance it. So it automatically creates a draw.
Yes, you're answering your own question. Is it's a draw because it's gravitational. It's pulling everything that's lighter into it.
I thought that's why you said whenever we had the ball reactors inside the liquid plasma,
Think
the-
what you're
H3 is the center one as the fourth one to get them to lock into place.
Yeah, I think. Well, but the point is, the iron that's getting magnetized is not a magnet when it's not in the presence of a magnetic field. But when you bring it into a presence of a magnetic field, it actually changes its behavior. And so I'm thinking that so does the Ganss.
Mm-hmm. It could be. And it could be a difference in the way it's made and so on may alter the structure. Different people have different results, especially with the CH3 GANs. There's slightly different colors that come out of the experiments, for example. So there must be some difference in the structures. Maybe some of them are magnetical in the sense that they're attracted to magnets, and some of them aren't. I'm wondering. Any other feedback on the magnetical CH3 question out there?
I think everything has to have a magnetical and a gravitational balance. That's the whole point. So everything has magnetical and gravitational. What you're really talking about is the relationship of one to another. When you have gold Ganss or a heavier Ganss, you're going to have a drawing to the weaker, which is the CH3. But the CH3, it doesn't have oxide. It's not one of the oxides. Anything with an oxide acts as a gravitational.
Mario.
Yeah, isn't that right?
May I ask a question, Mario?
Mm-hmm.
When you say that everything has should be equal, right? Gravitation.
They're always try to balance.
Yeah, but that doesn't work because balance never happens. If everything was in a balanced state, then we'd never have forward progress.
Then we would be in the universal community. If humans were in a balanced state, then we would already be in the universal community. The reason we're not is because we're out.
Well, of course we're not, because we're not in a balanced state. But what I'm saying is, if we thought we were in a balanced state, we would never achieve what we're trying to. We would be at a neutral state, like you're saying. The yin and yang doesn't work anymore. They've convinced us that there's the one and the two makes three, and it doesn't.
Well, it depends on what level you speak of. Like if, for example, you mix acid and base together, you get sort of a salt sort of thing that's neutral. It neutralizes each other. That's a balance, but it's different than having the acid beside the base and having them rotating in a reactor. They're separated, but yet there's a balance there. There's an interaction of the fields that balance out. So there's sort of two ideas that are sort of.
I know it's a non-argumental issue, but I'm just thinking that we've been in this this mindset that what we're still thinking in, and Mr. Keshe keeps telling us, step out of the box, step out of the box. Don't keep thinking that there's just like so many paradigms. There's many paradigms. You know, there's things that we don't even understand that we're trying to understand.
Yeah.
You know, we're making experiments and we're doing things that we don't even understand. So when we say that, you know, the yin and yang, and you know, we as a small group have to move past that, not even argue about it. We're
Mario, are you still on liquid plasma?
pardon me.
Yeah, more or less, but I've been eating lately. I've got some iodine finally, but now I've gotten to where every time I eat, I don't feel good, and I'm mostly just eating because of stuff I want to eat, and I had to start over with making all my Gansses. I don't have any reactors here, nothing. So, yeah. How are you doing? Same.
Good, real good, man. Really, really, really good.
It's a great feeling, isn't it?
Yes, man. You know, I got lost. I got lost for about a week. I don't know what happened. It was like I was disconnected or something. And
you mean you were eating?
No. I mean, I was on the liquid plasma. It's just my mind said it. It was like I fell back or something. I just couldn't. I couldn't find my place. I don't know if that makes any sense, but
yeah, it's to me, I think it's about perceptions. Like that flower of life, everything I studied about that understanding of the way the universe works is so different, bizarrely different than with no Star Trek universe. There is no going to other planets. There's going through the center of the Earth. There's going up and down out layers. That's such a different understanding of everything.
Yeah.
Hello, Murray? I think we lost your audio there. Or is it mine?
Yeah, I got muted there. I think it's like we're waking up out of a dream and you're coming out of it a little bit. I think we're being magnetized by these chances and stuff. Our behavior is little by little changing. Living on the liquid plasma, first of all, the not eating, I mean, you use 80% of the energy of your body's overall energy to digest food, which is only giving you 20% of the energy you need. You know, not eating, man, it's so gives you more energy.
It's liberating. Mm-hmm.
Yes, very, very, very good word.
I've just stopped eating for 4 days as well. I'm on a liquid diet of my lemon juice, because I have to for rebuilding my insides. Okay, don't melt your bottom there. What do you got there, Mark? Is it moving or no?
Yes, it's moving with the heat.
Oh, yeah.
So now what do you think?
Well, it's what could be called convection currents, but there's more to it than that with our human fields.
Hey, Rick, can I ask you a question?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, man, I experimented with hydrogen peroxide, the 90%. The stuff
90% hydrogen peroxide?
If you get it on you,
you mean like
it'll exfoliate your skin really fast.
Yeah, imagine. Mm-hmm.
It's really, really bad stuff.
Yeah.
But whenever I started working with making graphene, I used that process to try and create, better and sheets. But anyways, I had put a few drops into some Ganss, and man, they started moving really fast. And I mean, it was like almost like they were dynamic. But
well, that's an interesting point, and it could be that in any material that has any sort of non-symmetry to it, like the Ganses probably aren't a total monoatomic, symmetrical, round kind of thing. It might have some sort of tail on it, and that tail will respond to a heavy acid, heavy base, or hydrogen peroxide is a strong oxidant, and can make it propelled. I've been reading a bit about that. There's a whole science behind that now. They want to propel little particles through microcapillaries, and to do that, they put certain chemicals in, and they swim along. What are you showing there, Mark? We see a little mini vortex happening.
Well, I'm just holding it.
Yeah. So your thumb area, is that starting to affect it there, or is it still responding to the heat from the bulb?
It's my thumb.
Mm-hmm.
And it just reacts right where the point of where my thumb is at.
Does it do it as good with the thumb as with the bulb, or is it definitely a heat thing, or is it more than just the heat from your thumb?
Rick, I could not tell you.
Well, you soaked it. You soaked your feet in that water before you made your Ganss, right?
Watch. Look at it go. Look at, there's several vortexes right now.
Yeah, right. Mm-hmm.
See it?
Yeah.
Nice.
And it's making, at least on the top, no matter what, it's got to be making some sort of amino acid. So anyway, that freaked me out.
Interesting.
How does that happen? It was a light bulb, and now it's my thumb. And it's on camera.
Well, if you can use your thumb to make the Ganss into a light bulb, then you really got something. We should be able to hold our Ganss and make it turn into light, to glow.
Oh, so you want me to stand here in front of the camera, disconnect the bulb, hold the bulb, and hold my Ganss? And
Well, no, I thought the Ganss itself would glow, not the bulb. You make a bulb out of Ganss and hold the bulb, perhaps, and it should glow. You know, if you get everything right. So just the fields between your hands, creating if we've talked about how we can create fields between our hands and actually create light between our hands with enough focus and concentration, and I've heard of teachers explaining about that and so on. And what if we could hold our Ganss in between our hands and use the Ganss to be an intermediary, so it's easier to see that field interaction and easier to see light from the Ganss? So maybe there's a way to do that, I'm thinking.
You know, last year when I'm back in Shanghai now, but when I was in this other flat in Shanghai, and I had the two reactors going, and I had all these pound of copper nano-coated and Gansses all over the place and stuff in this tiny little room. Because I was living in one room, when I went to bed, I was in the same room as the reactors that were spinning and everything. And I would turn the light off and it was pitch black. I could rub my hands together and it would light up. I would rub my finger on a fabric, and any kind of friction, I would get light all the time, whenever. Tried videoing it and nothing, but I don't know, maybe it was the setting on my phone. I might have been able to get it, but scraping my finger across a fabric, pitch black. I videoed it. Like the video I was looking at was pitch black, but I could see the finger and the light scraping against the. I'm wondering, like, Rick, you probably are in a pretty thick plasma environment. Have you ever tried shutting the lights off in pitch black and seeing if you don't get light? Maybe all of you. You know, most people
I get so many lights on in terms of little red and green and blue lights and different devices and stuff. It would take me all night to unplug them probably. And there's always a bit of residual light, it seems. But
I'll
yeah,
close
that's an interesting idea. I think only in total darkness can we start to see the light, so to speak. And that's been talked about in the private teachings as well. What do you see there, Mark? Something special?
Mario, are you on Facebook?
Yeah, but I don't. I guess Mario Train, my Facebook name. I don't even. I use it only to. Anyway, yeah, sure. You want to contact me?
Yes, I do. I would like to talk to you, brother.
Sure, man. Um,
You guys can.
Facebook, you can find me, Mario Train, Trane, I guess.
Okay, that's good enough. Hopefully that doesn't create a flood of people trying to drown you out or something. So what are we seeing here? This is a good close-up. If we can see the actual... Is there 2 thumbs on this or 1, Mark?
2.
Mm-hmm.
Can you see the action? Now we got 2 vortex from both thumbs. Oops.
So it's kind of hard to see there. It's getting blurrier as you get closer, I think. Or
Nope. Stop. There. Tell me when.
No, it's just a little hard to see there right now.
Darn. I wonder if I put a little bit of lighting underneath it.
You might have to light inside the container rather than backlighting it or something.
I have this one. Let me just light this baby up. I mean, with both thumbs, you got 2 different vortexes. No. Clear? Is it a little clearer now?
You can see the air streaming in through the radial inlet ports.
Somebody's got their phone on. I think maybe I'm going to mute maybe Denny. Somebody else. Okay, go ahead, Mark.
Does it look better now that I put the light underneath?
We're not seeing any vortex right now, right? But
I don't have my thumbs
right.
under it.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's going to work with the vortex thing or not. It's we'd have to see it happening, I guess. We could try it. You can definitely see the underneath. We see mostly the grainy side of the container rather than the bottom right now. It has to be tilted a little bit. Here we go.
Probably because I was jiggling and it's not going to work.
It might help too if maybe the fluid was cool to start with and there's a big gradient when you put your thumb on. And now that you've heated it with the bulb and your thumb and so on, maybe the fluid's warmer and it doesn't react as quickly. Not as much of a gradient as before.
Okay. Well,
but it's very interesting.
We carry on, right?
Yeah, it's it ties in actually with something that I was looking at earlier today, which is speed of electrons and other charged particles, and especially in a vacuum. And how speed is related to temperature, and they're basically the same thing. So you can actually make a particle go really fast, and you don't have to make it millions of degrees. It can go as fast as millions of degrees, but it doesn't actually generate any heat until it actually interacts with other particles in a fusion or some other fission or something like that. So it's kind of ties into what you're doing there in a strange sort of way, that this heat is translated into motion. So we see the gradient. The gradient causes these Ganss particles to pretty rapidly, rise toward the top, to go up, head for anything other than gravity. They achieve levity essentially, and through heat. And we can also do, I've also seen a similar thing with a video recently with the reactors rotating, 3 reactors, and you stop the outer one and the inner ones are still spinning. There's a vortex in there that looks very similar, and it'll be a wispy kind of very thin tendril thing that's that stays there quite predominantly. So one way is to induce the motion to get the motion, and the other way is to use heat to get the motion. So that's interesting. It's the heat is interaction of fields. It's infrared heat fields, the waves of infrared heat and so on. So it's definitely a way to interact with the Ganss, no doubt about it. Ganss with the hands.
Well, it's a fun experiment, and like I said, I I made sure that it was a part of me, and I think everybody. That's where like people that want to try to do it to get connected. The best way to get connected is to do some things. It might take a little longer, a little bit more time to connect yourself with certain things, certain aspects of this technology. And the more you're connected, the easier it'll be for you to understand it.
Mm-hmm. True. Right on. I think we'd better wind things up here. It's been over 3 hours now, so.
Well,
I'd like
thank
to
you,
keep it down.
everybody. I really appreciate it. And if there's anything I could do, Rick, to if you need me to help and present or show or whatever, I'm more than glad to help.
Right. Well, we need to come up with some sort of little presentation for the Knowledge Seekers Workshop. Would be great. And usually I have to show Mr. Keshe what's going to be presented or something, or just make sure it's okay. And I think this would be a good one to show your structures there, perhaps, which is kind of nice, and your ideas on those, and anything else you might want to put together, or any breakthroughs you might happen to have in the next day or two.
Well, I'm still working on stuff, and like I said, I condition stuff, and the structures are nice. And like I said, if we have any questions about stuff, I'm sure I'd be more than glad to let them look at it, talk about it. If anybody has any questions about it, I'd be more than glad to help. I'm just a guy in Michigan. I don't know how it came to this point, but I'm at this point and I'm not scared anymore. And I'm be more than glad to talk to anybody and share whatever little bits of information I have rolling around in my head like everybody else.
Right on. That's the whole idea, sharing. So thanks, Mark.
Okay.
Alrighty. I think end things for now. And is there any other last questions or comments that anybody wanted to get in before we end?
Well, I'd like to just say to Zane, I think I just sent you, you're on iPhone. I just sent you my email address. You can let me know if we can hook up on Skype or something like that too, if you want to talk.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate
Okay.
you.
Right on, guys.
Rick,
Oh,
thank you,
thank you, Tuesday.
brother.
Thanks everybody
Hey,
for showing stuff
and it's
today.
strong.
Pardon me, sorry?
So you've been hanging in there strong.
Yep, 3.5 years or more just in this
Woo!
plasma reactor group. And I think we're getting actually very close to showing some real results, let's say, in the next while. So it remains to be seen, of course, but we're zeroing in on that principal matter at the center of all things. More and more every day, I think. So, alrighty. Thanks, everybody, and I'm going to end the live stream now.
Thank you, Rick, for all your help, your contribution. You're a great host, and we appreciate all your diligence.
Thank you, Mark. And thank you to the people on live stream there. I'm not sure if I got anybody's questions answered, but there weren't too many there, I don't think. There's one thing. Can you imagine what the plasma field would be put out by the swimming pool? Denny's swimming pool, plasma swimming pool might put out quite a field. A new definition of playing in the field.
Penny, I'm gonna come pick him up in my pod, and he can put the pool in the pod, and we can all have a great time.
Flying around the planet in the pool with pooing out gold at the same time. What could be better? People loving you, waving, and yes, yes, thank you, everywhere you go. And then you find out everybody else is starting to do it too, and wow, that'd be quite a transformed planet.
And nobody will be hungry or homeless.
Well, we might be hungry and homeless, but we'll have gold all over us. That's the trouble. The gold might be worthless and no longer buys anything, and we're still homeless and helpless. But I don't know. It's a grand idea. I love everything. The idea of everything coated with gold to start with. I think that's a fine idea. Why not? Gold coat the planet. Let's gild the planet.
I swear, didn't they tell us the streets would be paved with gold?
That's right. That's supposed to be that way in this new age.
So if it is to create materials, in that case, I will be much more interested in creating water, because I can live many lifetimes without any gold, but I cannot live more than 3 days without water.
Yes.
But the ancients, they knew the secret of the monatomic gold to live forever. You can only live 3 days with water, but you can live forever with the monatomic gold, perhaps.
Without drinking water?
Yeah, yes, because you're in your astral body, not in your physicality. That would be the difference. Oh, we'll leave all that philosophical arguments up to another day, perhaps. But thank you for entering that question in there, Shandor.
Well, love and kisses to everybody. Have a good week.
Okay, I'm going to stop the live stream now.